Chapter 1925, Blind. Many people smiled when they heard Jun Mo Shi and Lang Ye's words. Jun Mo Shi was the Prince of Hell, he had an imperial immortal body, and Lang Yi was a descendant of the World Clan and had the World King body. They were both humiliating Ji Wuyo because of what had happened before at Champion University. Brother Lang Yi and Prince of Hell, if you want to fight, just tell me. We can bet on the result of the battle. Ji Wuyo icily challenged Lang Yi and Jun Mo Shi. Jun Mo Shi looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng's clone had been destroyed. If Lin Feng needed him to do anything, he wouldn't refuse. Asking for a battle after what happened in Champion University is shameless. And as Lang Yi says, if you are weak, even with destructive Dao, you remain a weakling. Destructive Dao is shitty and useless if the cultivator is crappy, said Lin Feng, lowering his head. The crowd looked astonished and stared at Lin Feng, especially Ji Chang and Ji Wuyo. It was the first time that someone was criticizing both them and their Dao. You're making impertinent remarks, said someone, rising up in the air. However, the elder in charge shouted, come back. That person was startled and stopped moving. Today, the Ji clan invited everybody. We want to understand what the geniuses of the holy city think. We want to understand them, their cultivation, their views on cultivation. Even if someone despises or criticizes the Ji clan, so what, said the elder of the Ji clan. The man withdrew, but he still stared at Lin Feng icily. Prince of Hell, we don't know your friends. Which clan do they belong to? Asked the leader of the Ji clan, looking at Lin Feng calmly. I heard about the event, so I came with the Prince of Hell. I don't belong to any famous clan. If you think I shouldn't be here, I can leave, replied Lin Feng equally calmly. The leader didn't really believe it. A low-level emperor was there and acting that way in front of him. He had to be from somewhere. You're a guest here, we don't kick guests out. However, how do you explain what you just said? How could destructive Dao be shitty? Destructive Dao is good if a cultivator is strong. But for someone as weak as Ji Wuyo, then it's useless. I didn't mean the Dao was shitty, I meant it was a waste in the hands of a crappy cultivator, said Lin Feng indifferently. Ji Wuyo was furious, he clenched his fists with crackles of bones popping and shouted icily, damn it. So what do you mean? If Xie Yu can't stand a single of my attacks, then is his evil corrosion Dao shitty too? You're right, Wuyo. Your Excellency, don't exaggerate, agreed the leader indifferently. Exaggerate? Lin Feng smiled icily and looked at Aoshu. Aoshu, do you want to try and fight against the genius of the Ji clan? Let's see how powerful the destructive Dao is. All right, replied Aoshu happily. He rose up into the air. Come and attack, I won't strike back, said Aoshu to Ji Wuyo extremely loudly. Ji Wuyo pulled a long face and said, if you die, don't blame me. He rose up in the air and released his destructive Dao intent furiously. Rumbles filled the air as his fists turned into giant imprints. Boom! Ji Wuyo's destructive Dao crashed onto Aoshu, but it was like he had attacked a golden body. His destructive Dao intent destroyed Aoshu's clothes, but didn't affect him at all. Now piss off, shouted Aoshu loudly. His aggressive energies surrounded Ji Wuyo, who grunted as he was forced backwards violently and coughed up blood. His face turned deathly pale. Your Excellency, your physical body is incredible. Your Dao intent is really astonishing. My brother Ji Wuyo couldn't withstand a single attack against you, but it doesn't prove anything, Ji Chang said sharply, staring at Aoshu. This guy's strength was incredible. He could definitely be in the top 30 of the imperial ranking list. And Ji Chang hadn't seen his full strength, he might be even stronger. Many other people's eyes shone in admiration. This newcomer was intriguing. Forget it. The Ji clan doesn't want to admit that destructive Dao is shitty. Just forget about it, said Lin Feng. Aoshu looked at Ji Chang, he really wanted to fight. He could sense that Ji Chang was extremely strong. Aoshu, don't be impatient, Lin Feng said to him using telepathy. Aoshu withdrew his qi and went back down next to Lin Feng. Ji Chang looked at Lin Feng and said calmly, Your Excellency, you're saying that destructive Tao is shitty, then what Tao is good? I don't feel like talking about it, replied Lin Feng indifferently. Ji Wuyo jumped forwards and released a fearsome strength which pulsed towards Lin Feng. He was furious. He had been humiliated twice in 3 years, he was going crazy. You're a shitty low-level emperor and you dare talk that way, I lost because of the difference in cultivation level. If we fought, I could crush you, would it prove anything? Shouted Ji Wuyo furiously. Lin Feng suddenly raised his head and stared at Ji Wuyo. He smiled coldly and said, Are you sure? Shut up, shouted Ji Chang to Ji Wuyo, interrupting him. His brother kept getting humiliated. He wasn't as determined as before. People made him angry too easily. Lin Feng looked ordinary, what would happen if Ji Wuyo attacked him? Lin Feng looked at him mockingly and said, Ji Wuyo, in Champion University, people call you a genius. They give you face because of Ji Chang. Otherwise, people would have already crushed you like a mere insect. You lost twice in 3 years, that's pathetic. You're a member of the Ji clan, you're Ji Chang's younger brother, that's the only reason why people respect you. If you weren't from this clan and weren't Ji Chang's brother, do you think you would be here today? Of course, Ji Wuyo wasn't as ridiculous as Lin Feng was saying. Ji Wuyo was everything but weak. But Lin Feng sounded like a demon, he was trying to crush Ji Wuyo's self-confidence. And Ji Chang had just yelled at him, Ji Wuyo's facial muscles twitched and looked distorted. Jian Mang, an assassin. His cultivation level is similar to yours. I think he's weaker than you. He understands Tao intent too, but he has a bad habit, when he fights, he makes his enemies become like him, blind. Are you interested in fighting against him? Said Lin Feng slowly, pointing at Jian Mang who was next to him. Ji Wuyo looked at Jian Mang. Jian Mang's eyes were grayish-white. What will happen if I win? Said Ji Wuyo to Lin Feng. If you win, you can fight against me. Even if I die, it doesn't matter, said Lin Feng indifferently. Of course, if Jian Mang makes you blind, the Ji clan can't get involved, right? If I lose, I won't say anything if I am blinded, said Ji Wuyo, rising up in the air. His cyan dragon totems appeared behind him and his mighty qi surged forth. Ji Wuyo took a deep breath. If he lost against this guy who had the same cultivation level, he might lose his self-confidence forever. Lin Feng didn't say much. Jian Mang rose up in the air and darted towards at Ji Wuyo. Die, shouted Ji Wuyo explosively. A dragon tank appeared, as well as a road which led straight towards Jian Mang. Dazzling sword lights suddenly appeared, unbelievably fast. The sword light cut the dragon tank in two, and Jian Mang continued moving towards Ji Wuyo. How fast? Those watching were astonished. Ji Chang's eyes twinkled. Ji Wuyo was in danger. This guy was too fast. Ji Wuyo hadn't expected that Jian Mang would be so fast and would use light energy. He had no time to react. Boom! Ji Wuyo waved his hands, and cyan dragons surged towards Jian Mang. He also released destructive Tao. It was supposed to destroy anything, but Jian Mang hadn't attacked properly yet. Suddenly, Ji Wuyo saw dazzling lights moving towards his eyes. He closed them, and white lights glittered. Lin Feng had also noticed how terrifying Jian Mang's speed was back then. Ah, a horrible shriek rose. The crowd saw that Ji Wuyo's eyes had started bleeding. They all started shaking. Ji Chang and the members of the Ji clan looked stunned. Jian Mang was injured too. Ji Wuyo's attack had reached him. He coughed up blood, and his blood was boiling. Lin Feng knew that Jian Mang wasn't going to lose, though. He perfectly knew how strong they both were. Ji Wuyo was less determined than before, and Jian Mang was cruel and ferocious, and always cold and detached, probably because he was blind. Chapter 1926, Back, that's destructive Tao when used by a piece of trash. How can he even fight against people, said Lin Feng indifferently. Ji Wuyo heard Lin Feng, he was angry but also dizzy from his loss. Ji Wuyo had his hands on his eyes, and pulled them away. His hair was messy, he looked maddened as he started running towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't move. Ji Wuyo threw himself at Lin Feng in blind fury. When Ji Wuyo landed in front of Lin Feng, death strength penetrated into his brain and his face turned gray. Piss off. Lin Feng punched him. Death strength flew throughout Ji Wuyo's soul with a deadly rumble, and he was smashed away. Ji Chang looked more and more furious. He immediately started racing towards Lin Feng. A terrifying destructive strength invaded the atmosphere. Aoshu jumped up and released terrifying aggressive Tao intent which collided with the destructive Tao, and there was a huge explosion. People withdrew quickly, watching excitedly. Why were those people provoking the Ji clan? Same old stuff. I'm off. See you, said Lin Feng indifferently. Then, he rose up into the air, Jian Mang following him. Lin Feng glanced at Ji Chang one more time, turned around, and left, Aoshu trailing after him alertly. Ji Chang grit his teeth in fury. The leader of the Ji clan said calmly, forget about it. Wuyo got what he deserved. I'm disappointed. Ji Wuyo's legs shook violently. Yuan Jing was furious, too. The Ji clan was an ancient clan, and there were many young and strong cultivators. Ji Chang and Ji Wuyo were direct descendants. But if they weren't strong enough, the clan wasn't interested in them. Ji Wuyo appeared like a humiliation and a disgrace for the clan. I'm off too, said Lang Yi and Jun Mo Shi. They also departed. Ji Chang, go back to the university and get ready to be declared a champion. Don't worry about the rest, said the leader of the clan. Ji Chang nodded and looked over at Ji Wuyo, sighing to himself. In Champion University, everything was the same. Everybody was waiting for the same thing, Ji Chang's champion ceremony. The atmosphere was lively and there were many strong cultivators. However, in Tiantai, the people were very depressed. Even though Ji Chang was going to become a champion, Ji Chang's club and the Stone Group continued putting pressure on Tiantai. Tiantai had gone out and had noticed that a bunch of strong cultivators had encircled Tiantai. They had attacked him a few times and broken some of his bones. He asked Yunqing Yan, our second fellow disciple hasn't come out yet? Indeed, said Yunqing Yan nodding. I told you not to do anything. I can't hide in the courtyard my entire life. We should leave Champion University then, said Tiantai, stewing with his anger. That's what they want, said Wuxia to Tiantai, we can't leave otherwise. Things are deteriorating too quickly already. Wuxia is right. Ji Chang's club and the Stone Group want to kick us out, said someone at that moment. Everybody suddenly looked happy, Ho Qing Lin. His chi had changed. He looked even more enigmatic and unfathomable than before. What should we do then? Asked Tiantai to Ho Qing Lin. Endure and wait for an opportunity, said Ho Qing Lin. His eyes were twinkling. When we'll have an opportunity? During Ji Chang's champion ceremony, spoke up someone at that moment. Everybody was stupefied and gazed into the distance, where three people were arriving. Tiantai's people frowned. Lin Feng took off his mask and waved at them. Lin Feng. The crowd was stupefied. Finally, Lin Feng was back. Lin Feng, are you all right? Ho Qing Lin asked him. Back then, his clone had been destroyed. Was Lin Feng injured? I have recovered, Lin Feng nodded. He walked up to the crowd and said, I know everything. During Ji Chang's champion ceremony, I will teach Ji Chang's club and the stone group a good lesson. Ho Chin Lin frowned when he heard Lin Feng. Ji Chang's champion ceremony was very important for them. If Lin Feng caused trouble, the consequences would be tragic. Lin Feng, Ji Chang's club and the stone group joined hands, and they are very powerful, especially Zhong Ke, the leader of the stone group. He's extremely strong, he understands Dao strength. We won't have any opportunity during Ji Chang's champion ceremony, observed Yun Qin Yen coldly. I don't want to attack them. I just want to take advantage of the ceremony to understand Champion University's position. Do Ji Chang's club and the stone group represent Champion University? That's what I want to understand, said Lin Feng icily. Alright, since you seem confident, I trust you. I will inform my parents, we can trust them, agreed Yun Qin Yen. Ho Chin Lin looked at Lin Feng and said, Lin Feng, are you really ready? Indeed. Lin Feng nodded. Ho Chin Lin didn't say anything else. Lin Feng continued, gather Tiantai's people, and for these next few days, don't fight against people from Ji Chang's club and the stone group. Lin Feng looked over at Aoshu and said, Aoshu, what do you intend to do? I have nothing to do. I want to have some fun with you in the holy city, answered Aoshu in a free and unrestrained way. Alright, you can stay here for now, Lin Feng nodded. After finding a flat for Aoshu and Jian Mang, he left. Meng Qin was practicing cultivation alone in a room. Her room was filled with a chill colder than ice. However, at that moment, she suddenly opened her eyes. Meng Qin, said a warm voice. Meng Qin shivered as someone entered her room. Finally. Meng Qin smiled radiantly. The ice in her room melted as the temperature instantly rose. Lin Feng looked back at her in a warm and gentle way as he walked over to her. Are you alright? Meng Qin asked gently. As she was talking, Lin Feng ignored what she was saying and drew closer to her. She blushed. If anyone else had seen her that way, they would have been too jealous to speak. Don't talk. Lin Feng smiled. He just stared at Meng Qin, which made her laugh. Her heart was melting. You're so beautiful, Lin Feng said gently, before he kissed her. He was as gentle, as if she were made of china. They both kissed passionately. It was like they had turned into one. A mysterious qi invaded the room, and then they disappeared from there. In Lin Feng's small world, when Meng Qin saw more people she knew, she was astonished and overjoyed. She asked Lin Feng, how did you do that, Lin Feng? This is my world, our world, smiled Lin Feng. Xiaoya quickly arrived and hugged Meng Qin. Meng Qin, sister. Xiaoya. Meng Qin caressed Xiaoya's hair and shouted, father, mother. Hey! Yu Meng He and Lin Hai arrived and greeted Meng Qin. They were very happy. Wu Shang's eyes twinkled and he said to Lin Hai, Dad, you look close to that celestial girl, how come I don't know her? Everybody burst into laughter when they heard Wu Shang. Lu Fei slapped Wu Shang's shoulder and said, that's your sister-in-law. Sister-in-law. Wu Shang was astonished and looked at Lin Feng, brother, you're really incredible, extremely strong and you're also amazing at courting women. I'm alright, said Lin Feng, glancing at Wu Shang. Wu Shang was already 18 years old. They were happy to be together. Lin Feng and Meng Qin spent some time in the small world. A clone was outside until the day of the champion ceremony. The atmosphere there became more and more lively, and many strong cultivators from everywhere came to Champion University. Ji Chang's champion ceremony was an incredible event in the holy city. Ji Chang's club was on everyone's lips. Their leader was going to become a champion. In Tiantai, the atmosphere was calm. It was as if they had disappeared from Champion University. The Stone Group and Ji Chang's club stood guard over the gates of Tiantai's territory. Chapter 1927, Flames in Champion University, there was a champion stage, with many people around. At that moment, on the champion stage, there was a group of elders. They all looked enigmatic and unfathomable. Ji Chang was standing there as well. Ji Chang was in the middle of them and receiving the champion crown. Some people said that Ji Chang's name was already carved in the legendary waterfall abode of the immortals, he just had to sign it. They had carved his name beforehand, as if his future success were obvious. On this day, the holy city was almost empty, very few people on the streets. Many people were going to the champion stage. They wanted to participate to Ji Chang's champion ceremony. He was the pride of the holy city. That was incredible. Many people admired him and wanted to be like him. However, at that moment, in Tiantai, many strong cultivators had gathered, Lin Feng, Ho Qin Lin, and the others. Ao Shu and Jian Mang were there, too. Are you ready? Lin Feng asked the crowd. Yun Qin Yan's beautiful eyes twinkled. She looked at Lin Feng, still hesitant. This guy was insane. This was Ji Chang's champion ceremony. Everybody was going to the champion stage, but not far from Tiantai, there were still strong cultivators from the Stone Group and the Moon Group still guarding them. Yes, I am, said Tantai, nodding enthusiastically. He had been waiting for this day for so long. His anger had simmered far too long. Lin Feng, what do we do with those people? Huang Fu Long asked Lin Feng. Everybody looked at Lin Feng. Indeed, what could they do with those people? Cripple the cultivators of the Stone Group and kill those of the Moon Group, said Lin Feng icily. Everybody shivered. Cripple and kill them? Lin Feng was crazy. In a building nearby, members of Ji Chang's club were waiting. In another one, there were people from the Stone Group. Those people had been sent exclusively to monitor Tiantai's activities. Their goal was to oppress them and make them leave Champion University. So many strong cultivators will go to Ji Chang's champion ceremony. Many people are seething with excitement, and we're here. PFFFFF, said one of them with a sigh. He was annoyed. He had to monitor Tiantai, he couldn't go to the ceremony. He was leaning against the wall. Tiantai's people don't dare come out anymore. Why are we still here? They're a bunch of trash. Surprisingly, they dared to humiliate Ji Chang's club. Zhong Ke killed Lin Feng and Tiantai has lost all their power. I wonder what Ji Chang's club will give to our leader. The two guards were talking, however, at that moment, one of them said, wait. What's wrong? Said the other one frowning. He looked at that person. His lips twitched. He gazed into the distance and smiled coldly. Is Tiantai doing something? Are they coming to us? Humph. Do you think they could fight against us? The two cultivators gazed into the distance. Dozens of cultivators suddenly appeared in their field of vision. Their chi was ferocious. Stop, shouted a guard of the Stone Group explosively. Other guards heard them, and hurried to join him. What are you doing? Lin Feng and the others were facing them and oppressing them. The guards suddenly felt cold. Finally, one of them retreated. He realized that he couldn't do anything to these cultivators. You better think carefully before doing anything. It's Champion University here. If you attack the Stone Group, their revenge will be terrifying, shouted a strong cultivator. However, at that moment, Lin Feng looked at him with his death eyes. Suddenly, that cultivator sensed that his body had started decaying. He turned gray. A medium-level emperor like him was so weak before Lin Feng. You're insane, shouted that cultivator, extremely loudly. Tiantai's cultivators advanced relentlessly, their chi was terrifying. Tantai bellowed furiously, lions appeared around him. The man he'd picked groaned with pain and coughed up blood. Tantai landed in front of him and lifted him up in the air. Piss off, shouted Tantai explosively. He punched the cultivator. Explosion sound spread in the air. His viscera exploded and he fell down from the sky limp as a noodle. His colleagues' faces turned deathly pale. At the same time, many people came out of the buildings. They were astonished. Tiantai wants to violate the rules of the university, shouted one of them explosively. Lin Feng looked at him icily. Violate the rules of Champion University? Tiantai's people found that statement ridiculous. Violate the rules. What dogs hit rules? Another loud shout spread in the air as a building exploded. The guards of the stone group realized what was going on and came out. Among them was a terrifyingly strong cultivator, a high-level emperor. He was the strongest cultivator of the stone group. Tiantai, you want to bring about your own destruction, exclaimed the high-level emperor icily. Then he charged Lin Feng. When Lin Feng saw that, the death energy in his eyes became even more terrifying. The man's face turned gray, and he was abruptly horrified. Lin Feng charged to meet him, death strength surrounding him. The man was being corroded and death energy started flowing throughout his body. The high-level emperor almost forgot to strike back in his powerlessness. He had the sensation he was dying. That's Lin Feng, he's not dead, screamed a shocked cultivator of the stone group at that moment. That's Lin Feng. Someone else looked petrified. The heart of the high-level emperor started pounding furiously as Lin Feng arrived before him, desperation tearing at his resolve. Die, shouted the cultivators of Tiantai in unison. They looked like ferocious tigers attacking their prey. Lin Feng punched the high-level emperor with his death fist. The cultivator's face turned deathly pale, as he raised his fists and punched back. Their fists collided, and his bones creaked painfully. They had controlled themselves for too long. Tiantai's cultivator couldn't hold it in anymore. Horrible shrieks kept rising. Many people heard them in their surroundings. When the cultivators of Ji Chang's club saw that, they looked astonished and ran away to inform the strong cultivators of the two groups. Tiantai's people were insane. They dared violate the rules. Only a few guards of the stone group remained. Many corpses lay on the ground. The buildings they'd come from were destroyed. Some people's hearts were pounding. They gazed into the distance and saw some people running over. What a relief! Tiantai's people were probably going to die now, finally. The strong cultivators of the stone group and Ji Chang's club were going to avenge their friends now. The university wouldn't say anything if they got their revenge. In the distance, some people who hadn't gone to the ceremony yet arrived. When they saw the scenery, they were astonished. Those are Tiantai's people, what are they doing? I see Lin Feng, he's not dead. Tiantai attacked the stone group. They've been oppressed for so long now, they went crazy. Everybody was shaking. Tiantai's cultivators ran towards the buildings of Ji Chang's club. The members of Ji Chang's club were shaking. They weren't that many people there, and most of them were from the Moon Group as well. They couldn't resist Tiantai. Tiantai's people dare act that insolently, they must die, they must be wiped off the map of Champion University, shouted someone explosively in the distance. 3 high-level emperors had arrived. One of them was from the Sun Group. The 2 others were from the Stone Group. All of them were on the Celestial Champion ranking list. Ji Chang's club's cultivators were convinced that Tiantai was doomed. Chapter 1928, Emotionless and merciless killings. Tiantai's cultivators were going wild. They crushed the strong cultivators of the Stone Group and Ji Chang's club one after another. If the newcomers killed Tiantai's cultivators, the university wouldn't say anything. Ji Chang's club had too much influence these days. The 3 high-level emperors released their qi towards Tiantai's cultivators. A terrifying strength filled the air. In the distance, some people noticed the agitation there. Surprisingly, the battle stage wasn't the only lively place. Tiantai's people arrived in front of the high-level emperors. The three high-level emperors stared at Lin Feng and one of them questioned icily, "You're not dead?" "Back then, your people killed one of my clones," said Lin Feng indifferently. The cultivator smiled coldly and said, "Since it's that way, I'll kill you once again. Tiantai's people have violated the rules of the university. You crippled and killed so many of our cultivators. That's a huge offense. You must die. From today on, Tiantai won't exist anymore," shouted the high-level emperor explosively. "Kill all the cultivators from Tiantai." Boom! Terrifying energies rolled in waves. The strong cultivators of Ji Chang's club started attacking. "Die! Tiantai people, die!" The strong cultivators looked crazed. A high-level emperor ran at the front of them. A gigantic golden hand descended from the sky, twisting the sky. Golden lights illuminated everything. Tiantai roared furious defiance with his lions. Qing Lin released his 9 explosive cauldrons. Tian Qi turned into a golden Buddha, Wuxia released deceleration cosmic energies, their enemies were moving as if caught in shifting sands. Jian Mang unsheathed his swords. Ho Qing Lin jumped forwards and released reincarnation energies which absorbed everything coming at them. The battle was incredible. The high-level emperor ran towards Lin Feng, his gigantic golden hand targeting Lin Feng too. Lin Feng raised his fist, a simple punch and the golden hand exploded. His enemy was astonished as Lin Feng raced towards him. "I'll kill you once again," said the cultivator, releasing golden lights. However, at that moment, he saw Lin Feng's eyes, filled with death energies. His face turned gray as a death sword moved towards his eyes. His eyes turned gray. It felt like he was dying and going to hell. How could he be so strong? He was staring at Lin Feng and his eyes filled with death. A death sword appeared and his skull cracked, and then he collapsed. The faces of the other strong cultivators turned deathly pale. A high-level emperor had just been killed by Lin Feng. Ho Qing Lin jumped forwards and released reincarnation energies above the crowd. The strong cultivators had the sensation they were dying and disappearing in the wheel of reincarnation. The reincarnation energies then disappeared. For those people, it felt as if their souls were falling into a black hole. They looked petrified, their eyes wide open as they fell down from the sky, dead. Reincarnation Tao. The two high-level emperors were astonished, their faces changed drastically. Ho Qing Lin had comprehended reincarnation Tao. And Lin Feng could kill high-level emperors. How? And Jian Mang and Wuxia, both were astonishing and fast, one controlled light energy, the other one controlled speed and decay cosmic energies, both rare kinds of energies. Those two people were particularly strong when they joined hands. Wuxia used his deceleration cosmic energy and Jian Mang used his light sword attack. The strong cultivators of Ji Chang's club kept dying, one after another. This time, they didn't cripple people's cultivation, they just killed them. How strong! Lin Feng is back, Ho Qing Lin understands Dao's strength, there's also that blind assassin. Tiantai is going crazy. The onlookers in the distance frowned, all of them amazed, astonished, and stunned. Tiantai had been patient for so long. Finally, they were getting furious. They didn't care about the consequences anymore. Lin Feng jumped forwards, people around him died one after another, their lives corroded away by his death strength. Only the two high-level emperors were still alive. However, they remained discreet, terrified of what was happening. How come Tiantai was so powerful all of a sudden? Let's go, the two cultivators suddenly turned to flee. However, they sensed death strength rising around them. They released their soul strength to resist. They weren't weaker than Lin Feng, but Lin Feng's Nihility Death Sword had stamps, so it stuck on their soul. In a flash, Lin Feng jumped forwards and slapped one of those cultivators' heads. That person trembled violently. He was on the Celestial Champion ranking list, but at that moment, he looked extremely weak and couldn't withstand even a single attack. The other cultivator was terrified. This Dao intent was so powerful, even Zhong Kei's Dao intent wasn't as strong. I don't want to die. Lin Feng had grabbed the other one, he was now begging him. Lin Feng threw him away violently. There was a clap of thunder, and his body exploded. In Lin Feng's eyes, there was only death. They had killed his clone, injured Meng Qing, and oppressed Tian Tai. They had to die, all of them. Lin Feng looked like an emotionless and merciless murderer at that moment. Lead the way to the stone group, said Lin Feng to the last one icily. Death chi was still flowing in that person's body. Lin Feng could kill him at any time if he wished. All right. The cultivator nodded and headed towards the stone group. The stone group's territory was much larger than Tiantai's. However, at that moment, there weren't many people there, they were all at the champion stage. Those who remained sensed a terrifying chi invading the atmosphere and raised their heads. When they understood what was going on, they were all petrified. Tian Tai. The stone group will disappear today, promised Lin Feng. He waved his hands, and mountains fell from the sky, hitting like thunderous meteors. People ran away. Cripple their cultivation, ordered Lin Feng, chasing the people who were fleeing. He released death strength and one cultivator suddenly stopped moving as a terrifying strength crushed him. However, Lin Feng and the others just passed by him. They didn't stop. At the champion stage, the ceremony had started. Ji Chang had a crown on his head now, a beautiful champion crown. Behind him, there were 9 dazzling cyan dragon totems. He looked like a king. Ji Chang, today, I declare that you are a champion. Your name will be carved in the champion palace. Don't forget to come and sign it, said the official in charge of the ceremony. Ji Chang nodded, I will never humiliate the university or tarnish its reputation. It is an honor for me to have my name in the champion palace. Hooray! At the foot of the stage, everybody shouted cheerfully as the crowd congratulated him. They had to give him face now, he had power. However, some people had decided not to give him face at all. In the distance, a group of people was flying their way quickly. Tian Tai is causing trouble, said someone in the crowd. A strong cultivator suddenly rose up in the air and challenged them. You dare cause trouble during the champion ceremony? Tiantai's people have killed our people and destroyed the stone group, said someone from Ji Chang's club in disbelief. Another strong cultivator arrived, Tian Tai is killing people within the university. Many people of the stone group and Ji Chang's club are injured or dead, said the two people. Suddenly, the air went still. On the date of Ji Chang's champion ceremony, Tian Tai dared cause trouble and kill people. Many people looked amused, they loved trouble and battles. Zhong Kei's eyes flashed. Tian Tai's people had dared kill his people. Chapter 1929, Trouble and Disaster. During the champion ceremony, the next group of people arrived. The crowd frowned at them. Some people really dared go on a rampage. Tian Tai has violated the rules of the university, they killed other students, shouted some people who were being chased by Tian Tai's people. The elders of Champion University looked at the group of people with murder in their eyes. I'll go and crush them, said someone in a low voice. Let them come, said an old man. Everybody stopped. After a short time, Tian Tai's people arrived. They looked furious. Their chi was whistling around them. Everybody was looking at them. Ji Chang looked furious. His eyes fell on Lin Feng. It was him. The members of Ji Chang's club had told Ji Chang about Lin Feng. He had gone to the celestial country, and he had been killed by Zone Quebec. Why was he here now? Ji Chang looked at Jian Mang and Ao Shu, and recognizing them, grew even angrier. Zhong Kei flashed forwards and landed not far from Lin Feng and the others. Terrifying energies pulsed towards them. "You're not dead," Zone K said icily. Behind him, more and more strong cultivators from the stone group landed. Their chi shot up into the sky, trying to suppress Lin Feng and his friends. "You dared cause trouble at the ceremony and violate the rules of the university. You will all die," said someone icily. It was the law enforcement officer. "You bastard," said Tantai icily. "A law enforcement officer? You son of a bitch. Who chose you as a law enforcement officer? The Moon Group and the Stone Group keep violating the rules and assaulting us, are you blind? Asshole." Tantai burst out angrily. The man looked furious. He said to the old man, "Ancestor Xian Tian, please help me. Let's kill all of them, for the sake of the university." Ancestor Xian Tian looked at him and then he looked at the crowd, especially Lin Feng. His eyes were filled with death determination. He had the strength of a low-level emperor, but he looked extraordinary. "I allow you to explain your situation. If your excuses are not sufficient, no matter where you go, you will be killed," said Ancestor Xian Tian. Lin Feng looked calm and composed as he replied to Ancestor Xian Tian, "Today, Tian Tai had to do this, I am convinced you will understand. I'd like to ask you something though, the university, is it for all the students or only for champions?" "The university is for all the students. They are all the pride of the university. And we believe that anyone has the potential to become a champion. On the other day, there was a fair battle organized between the Moon Group and Tian Tai. Zone K got involved and killed my clone. Nobody said anything. After that, the law enforcement officer even said I deserved to die." "What's that supposed to mean?" said Lin Feng calmly. Ancestor Xian Tian frowned and looked at the law enforcement officer. "Did that happen?" The law enforcement officer frowned and stared at Lin Feng. "Ancestor, he was in the celestial country. He asked outsiders for help. And then he killed people from Champion University. We have to stop him. He violated the rules of the university. He killed people of the university." Ancestor Xian Tian frowned and looked at Lin Feng. "You are a student in Champion University. You cannot kill other people from Champion University, even in the celestial country. You have to die." "I didn't represent Champion University in the celestial country," said Lin Feng to Ancestor Xian Tian calmly. "Back then, I accidentally ended up in hell. After that I was told that the only way to go back to the continent of the 9 clouds was to cross the celestial country, and unluckily, there was a war between the continent of the 9 clouds and hell. I ended up in hell's army, and the army of the continent of the 9 clouds attacked me. Ancestor, what was I supposed to do?" Ancestor Xian Tian was stupefied. He had ended up in hell by accident. Many people were astonished. How was that possible? He had ended up in hell. Since it's that way, in such circumstances, everything depends on your fate. You're right, Ancestor. In such circumstances, everything depends on your fate. Zone K really violated the rules of the university though. During a fair battle, he attacked and killed me. And the law enforcement officer didn't do anything. "Do you know why Zone K asked for help to kill me?" said Lin Feng looking at the people on the battle stage with his black eyes. "If the leaders of the university were like these despicable people, they deserved to die. He didn't think that Champion University would kill them. Why? Because Ji Chang is a champion now. He has a high social status. Zone K attacked me because of Ji Chang. The law enforcement officer didn't enforce the rules because of Ji Chang. So, does this university belong to Ji Chang?" asked Lin Feng. The crowd looked amused. They understood a lot. It wasn't difficult. However, those things happened everywhere. In many places, strength and talent were the most important things. Ancestor Xian Tian remained silent for a few seconds and looked at the law enforcement officer icily. Ancestor Xian Tian looked at Lin Feng and asked, since they made a mistake and you attacked their groups, you both made mistakes. Bullshit, said Tan Tai. Ho Qing Lin said, the atmosphere is really foul in Champion University. Everybody looked at Ho Qing Lin in a sharp way. Bastard, shouted the law enforcement officer explosively, Ancestor, those people humiliated us and injured our people. They must be expelled from the university. If I had been able to leave before, I would have. I don't need you to tell me whether I can stay or not, said Ho Qing Lin icily. Everybody was stupefied. Ho Qing Lin didn't want to stay in Champion University anymore. Ancestor Xian Tian pulled a long face. Ho Qing Lin was humiliating the university in front of so many people. Do you know why I joined the university, Ancestor? Ho Qing Lin said to Ancestor Xian Tian. Strength. You're right, Ancestor. Students come to university for strength, but also to find a peaceful studying environment. Being a student is like having a big family at university. However, after violating the rules and killing Lin Feng's clone, Ji Chang's club started monitoring our activities. They didn't let us walk around freely within the university. They just wanted to force us to leave. I'm sure you know what they did. My friends from Tiantai were unable to make a single step for months. Nobody helped them. Why did the university humiliate Tiantai like that? And what was Tiantai supposed to do? Ho Qing Lin asked Ancestor Xian Tian. Tiantai has been unlucky. The law enforcement officer made a mistake. The cultivation world is cruel. Strength is all that mattered. There's no such thing as fairness. Champion University is like that, other universities and groups are like that, too. Weak people should die, said Ancestor Xian Tian. Many people burst into laughter. The old man was straightforward. Tiantai had been oppressed because they were weak, but the unlucky event he was talking about was Ji Chang's influence, of course. You're right, Ancestor, said Lin Feng loudly bowing before Ancestor Xian Tian. The crowd looked even more amused. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at Ancestor Xian Tian, since the weak are the prey of the strong, Ji Chang is strong. The law enforcement officer is also strong. Tiantai has nothing to say. Since there are no rules in Champion University, Tiantai got their revenge. We crippled the cultivators of the Stone Group and killed the cultivators of the Moon Group. Ancestor Xian Tian smiled, I forgive you for the tensions between Tiantai and Ji Chang's club, as well as the Stone Group. However, if Ji Chang's club and the Stone Group get their revenge, Champion University won't get involved. Have you thought about that? This old scoundrel, thought everybody. Tiantai was going to be destroyed that way. I perfectly understand and I am grateful. If you agree, Tiantai would like to challenge the Moon Group to a battle again, a battle to death, said Lin Feng, bowing again before Ancestor Xian Tian. At that moment, the whole crowd was astonished. You destroyed my Stone Group, aren't you forgetting something? Asked Zong Ke icily. Don't worry. You killed my clone. I'm not done with you yet. If you want to join the battle, I don't mind, battle to the death, said Lin Feng to Zong Quebec. His eyes were filled with death. The Moon Group is part of my Ji Chang's club, said Ji Chang on the battle stage. The crowd was astonished, what did that mean? Did Ji Chang want to join? Lin Feng slowly turned to Ji Chang and smiled, if Ji Chang's club is that shameless and wants to join, no problem. Ji Chang's club is already running wild in Champion University. But they do that just because you are the champion. However, having someone like you being revered like a deity and proclaimed as a champion is a humiliation for the university. Chapter 1930, Battle to Death. Having someone like you being revered like a deity and proclaimed as a champion is humiliation for the university. Lin Feng's words resonated in the hearts of the crowd. They all stared at Lin Feng. That guy was insane. He dared talk to Ji Chang that way, a humiliation for the university. When we joined Champion University a few years ago, we were low-level emperors, and back then, we had already heard about Ji Chang. Ji Chang was maybe going to be the next champion and blah blah blah. Back then you were also the second on the imperial ranking list. So many years have passed and only now you're being proclaimed a champion. And there's a ceremony? You're a crappy cultivator. You have no talent, said Lin Feng icily. The strong cultivators of the Moon Group and the Stone Group started walking forwards and releasing terrifying energies at his words. Empty words, said someone icily. Then, Shi Hao Tian said to Ancestor Xian Tian, Ancestor, since Tian Tai wants to fight, please accept. Ancestor, Tian Tai's people are insolent. Ancestor Xian Tian looked calm and unmoved. He looked at the crowd and said, all right, I accept. How could I refuse? I'll act as the referee. Tian Tai versus the Moon Group and the Stone Group. Battle to death. Zhong Ke looked at Lin Feng with murder in his eyes. How were Tian Tai's cultivators going to die? Even though the Moon Group wasn't as strong as the Sun Group, they had already fought against Tian Tai, they had a similar strength. And the Stone Group had 5 high-level emperors, and many medium-level emperors. How could Lin Feng act so arrogantly? Silhouettes rose up in the air and explosive energies invaded the atmosphere. Tian Tai's people looked weak. How could they compare themselves with the Moon Group and the Stone Group? They had only one high-level emperor. Aoshu, you're not from Champion University, right? Said Ji Chang to Aoshu. Surprisingly, he remembered his name. What a great champion. Lin Feng said to Ji Chang mockingly. Aoshu laughed loudly and moved back. He looked at Ji Chang and said, I'm not participating. Ji Chang knew Lin Feng was making fun of him. Aoshu was too strong though. If he joined, everybody would die against him. And he had also seen how strong Lin Feng was in the celestial country. But without the help of the cultivators from hell, what could he do? Zhong Ke could probably oppress him by himself. And Jian Mang was there too. He couldn't say much about Jian Mang, though. Jian Mang was only a medium-level emperor. Die, said Zhong Ke, staring at them icily. A terrifying chi drove towards Tian Tai's cultivators. Tian Tai roared furiously. The earth and sky shook violently as he jumped forwards. Wu also turned into a terrifying supernatural bird and streaked across the sky, surrounded by a sun. In front of Wu, a sun sword appeared, slicing through the air. Ho Qinglin's robe fluttered in the wind. Reincarnation strength appeared around him. Let's join hands, said Wuxia to Jian Mang. Jian Mang nodded and they turned into 2 light beams. Lin Feng walked forwards, releasing Devamara Kulpa strength. Life and death Kulpa sword energies appeared around him, the air shrieking at their conflict. The closest people to him withdrew quickly. Die. Someone descended from the sky above Lin Feng and attacked. A gigantic golden cauldron slammed down with a rumble of power, and then the cauldron exploded. Lin Feng rose up into the air and stuck out with a single punch. The man exploded. Lin Feng did some hand seals. A purple tank appeared, containing terrifying life and death strength. Everything died in its path as the air tore apart before it. How strong, thought the crowd. No wonder Lin Feng dared act that arrogantly. Tian Tai's people were really strong indeed. Ho Qinglin understood reincarnation Tao. Lin Feng was also terrifying strong. His death strength was astonishing. Jian Mang and Wuxia were also terrifying when they joined hands. Nobody could stop them. The strong cultivators of the Moon Group and the Stone Group kept falling from the sky one after another. A high-level emperor threw himself at Lin Feng. He released a fearsome whistling chi. Some ghosts moved towards Lin Feng, unleashed soul strength. Lin Feng's eyes glittered. He released a death sword and destroyed the soul attack. The high-level emperor was astonished. Then, a ghostly image appeared behind him and he turned into a hell ghost, moving with the weightless speed of a specter. Lin Feng released life and death lights. When the ghost lunged at Lin Feng had the sensation his soul was going to explode. Die, die. Death strength pierced that cultivator's soul and penetrated into his brain, too. Lin Feng raised his fist with a rumble of gathering thunder. He pounded his enemy's soul and watched it explode. The high-level emperor died and turned into a real ghost. He had been extremely strong. If Lin Feng didn't have life and death Dao, he would have died against the man. However, after that person died, another high-level emperor moved towards Lin Feng, a waterfall appearing behind him. Lin Feng waved his hands and his death strength turned into a river. His opponent disappeared inside it and turned into a corpse. Dao power. The crowd was astonished. Lin Feng also controlled Dao's strength. How powerful. He really was extremely strong. Ancestor Xian Tian's eyes twinkled. The cultivators from Tiantai were really extremely strong and talented. They weren't any less gifted than Ji Chang. Reincarnation Dao, Death Dao, Light Dao, all of them are really rare kinds of strength, thought Ancestor Xian Tian. He glanced at the law enforcement officer, who shivered. The law enforcement officer was also astonished by this display. Strength was the most important thing in that world. If they wanted the university to respect them, they had to prove how strong they really were. Their strength was precious. The law enforcement officer had cold sweats now. He looked at Zone K, Tiantai's people had to die. Ancestor Xian Tian had allowed them to fight, and a battle to death on top of that. The law enforcement officer understood that this battle was going to be tragic. If anyone died, it didn't matter, it just meant they weren't strong enough. Zone K stopped moving and released energies to pressure Lin Feng. You made it that far in this life, but now you're going to die, Zone K said to Lin Feng. His voice resonated in Lin Feng's brain. Lin Feng smiled coldly. A mere brain attack. Lin Feng moved forwards, ignoring the attack, and Zone K remained silent. A bell rang, and some ancient bells appeared. The air quivered with the sound. Lin Feng appeared in the middle of them. Zone K is at the top of the Huang Qi layer and he understands Dao strength. Even though Lin Feng is really strong, he's definitely going to die this time, thought the crowd with a sigh. The bells made Lin Feng's soul shake violently. He released life strength throughout his body and released a death sword which moved towards the ancient bells. Lin Feng charged forwards, a bell broke apart. Lin Feng's death-filled eyes looked more and more terrifying. Another bell rang and exploded. Lin Feng continued moving forwards and his death qi gathered around him like a black cloak. The air around him was turning gray. Die, shouted Zone K explosively. His bells kept ringing in unison and exploding. Further in the distance, the crowd could even sense their own souls shaking. Even the most determined ones were affected. Zone K was definitely going to kill Lin Feng. The bells kept breaking one after another. Lin Feng was getting closer and closer to Zone Quebec. His death strength penetrated into Zone K's brain. Your Dao is so weak, said Lin Feng. His voice carried death strength and resonated in Zone K's brain. He released a death sword which shot towards Zone Quebec. Zone K's expression changed drastically as he went white. You're going to die, promised Lin Feng. His voice echoed in Zone K's brain, and a death sword stamp stuck to his soul. Zone K screamed furiously. However, the crowd was astonished. Lin Feng was very close to Zone K and releasing destructive death energies. It was like an ocean of death energy, and Zone K disappeared inside. Chapter 1931, Arrogance. The death stamps moved along the Black River. Zone K was drowned inside and the water ate away his life. People's hearts pounded as they watched. "You're going to die," declared Lin Feng, using his most powerful voice. He also stamped the sound waves produced by his voice. Zone K was still buried in the Black Death River. The crowd was staring at the black water, whispering among themselves. Was Zone K dead or alive? Waves rumbled and the black water swirled around. It turned into death intent and gradually dispersed. A body appeared in the air and fell, already a corpse. Zone K, 5th on the Celestial Champion ranking list, leader of the Stone Group, was dead. Lin Feng, a cultivator ranked on the lower ranking list, had killed him. At that moment, the place became completely silent. Zone K wasn't the only one who had died, most of the cultivators of the Stone Group and the Moon Group had died, too. Tiantai was rising again, after having been oppressed and humiliated by the Moon Group and the Stone Group for so long. Lin Feng had come back furious and Tiantai had had their revenge, and on top of that during Ji Chang's champion ceremony, right next to the champion stage. This day was supposed to be one of Ji Chang's happiest days, and it had turned into a nightmare because of Lin Feng and his group, Tiantai. The members of Ji Chang's club had all pulled long faces. Ji Chang's club had lost its two junior groups, the Moon Group and the Star Group. The Stone Group had also almost completely disappeared from Champion University. It was a terrible humiliation for Ji Chang. Many people turned to look at ancestor Xian Tian. On the champion battle stage, the senior cultivators looked calm and lofty. The Stone Group and the Moon Group had been destroyed, but it didn't affect them. Since the Moon Group and the Stone Group had provoked, oppressed, and humiliated Tiantai, it was their fault. Tiantai had relied on their own strength to get their revenge. The cultivation world was that cruel. If Lin Feng and Tiantai had been weak, they would have disappeared. The elders probably respected them more now than they had before, after their enemies had suffered a crushing defeat. Even though the elders looked rather placid, their hearts were beating faster. That low-level emperor was probably a medium-level emperor, and his Dao was more powerful than Zone K's. That's how he had killed Zone K, the 5th cultivator on the Celestial Champion ranking list. Lin Feng understood the hidden rules of the cultivation world. Therefore, he had chosen to battle on the day of Ji Chang's champion ceremony, one of the best days in Ji Chang's life. It was the only way to be respected by the university. If they had fought on another day, the university wouldn't have paid attention to them. Zone K's corpse finally reached the ground, bouncing once and rolling over limply. Lin Feng looked at the corpse coldly with his black eyes and said calmly, "Sure Hao Tian, on that day, weren't you a little bit arrogant?" The crowd frowned and looked over to the strong cultivators of Ji Chang's club. Sure Hao Tian, the second most important cultivator of Ji Chang's club, 4th on the Celestial Champion ranking list. On that day, Sure Hao Tian and Zone K had had a conversation. Sure Hao Tian had asked Zone K for help. Sure Hao Tian was the leader of the Moon Group. Sure Hao Tian looked at Lin Feng's eyes, petrified, before looking at Zone K's corpse. His heart started pounding violently. He hadn't expected all this. He hadn't thought Lin Feng would come back, and would be so strong. He had even less expected Tiantai would provoke them on the day of the champion ceremony. A dazzling light appeared. A stamp emerged from Lin Feng's hand and rose up in the air. Gigantic golden letters appeared in the air, "Battle to Death." A contract for a battle to death. Lin Feng was challenging Sure Hao Tian to a battle to death. Sure Hao Tian is 4th on the Celestial Champion ranking list, but Zone K understands Dao strength. Sure Hao Tian and Zone K were about equal in strength, but Lin Feng killed Zone Quebec. He's very strong. He can probably kill Sure Hao Tian too, was the consensus of the crowd. Lin Feng had shown how strong he was when killing Zone Quebec. He definitely was strong enough to fight against the top 3 cultivators of the Celestial Champion ranking list. Ji Chang was probably the only one who could defeat Lin Feng. Today is Ji Chang's champion ceremony. It's supposed to be a happy day for all the students. Aren't you violating the rules by doing that? A cultivator of the Ji clan shouted out icily. Many people present today were from the Ji clan, since it was Ji Chang's champion ceremony. The leader of the Ji clan was present, too. He looked at Lin Feng icily. He knew perfectly well who Lin Feng was. He had brought Aoshu and Jian Mang to the Ji clan. Because of him, Ji Wuyo had almost been turned into a cripple. He was blind and had completely lost his confidence. He would never be as energetic and confident as before. If he didn't regain his confidence, he would never practice cultivation again. Now Lin Feng was back, and he was humiliating the Ji clan again, this time during Ji Chang's champion ceremony. There are rules in the Ji clan and there are rules at university. Champion University doesn't need the Ji clan to tell them what the rules of a university are, retorted a young man provocatively and coldly. It was Lang Yi from the World Clan. And the university doesn't need the World Clan to tell them anything either, said the leader of the Ji clan furiously. Lang Yi was throwing in his 2 cents, and the leader of the Ji clan didn't appreciate that at all. I am not getting involved. I am just voicing my opinion. Besides, Lin Feng is like a brother to me. Ji Chang and Lin Feng are competing at university, which is normal and acceptable, but Ji Chang's club keeps getting involved and bullying him and his friends. That's despicable. How can the Ji clan get involved in young people's affairs? I thought too highly of the Ji clan before. There were many strong cultivators in the holy city. Competitions between people of the same generation were normal and expected, but older people couldn't get involved. Therefore, Jian Mang had blinded Ji Wuyo and nobody could say anything about it. It was cruel, but nothing could be done. The clan could support young people, but if those young people's efforts didn't suffice, then the clan couldn't do much for them. Spending one's life relying on one's clan wasn't a life, and it was impossible to become a peerless cultivator that way. Therefore, Lang Yi was traveling alone, relying solely on himself. He had chosen his own path. Ji Chang's club killed Lin Feng's clone, and now Lin Feng is back and he's challenging that little buffoon. The Ji clan has nothing to say, agreed Jun Mo Shi. Lang Yi and Jun Mo Shi were having fun at Ji Chang's champion ceremony. Jun Mo Shi and Lang Yi are heartless, thought the amused crowd. I wouldn't have thought that Lin Feng would have so many powerful friends. It's been a long time since they've had someone with the World King body in the World Clan. Jun Mo Shi also has a very rare body type, and they're both Lin Feng's friends. Lin Feng is extremely strong and talented, he has no need to envy people who have king body types. The members of the Ji clan were surprised and perplexed. Ji Ping groaned icily and said, the Ji clan won't get involved, of course. However, the Ji clan is at the head of Ji Chang's club, and today is Ji Chang's champion ceremony. Some people are humiliating him and ruining this great event. Ji Chang can solve the issue himself. I'm not getting involved. He means he wants Ji Chang to fight against Lin Feng. If Ji Chang fights against Lin Feng, he will definitely crush him. After all, he's the champion. Apart from Ying Cheng, nobody can compete with him, including Lin Feng. The murmurs raced through the crowd. Lin Feng's eyes were still black, but he looked at the members of the Ji clan mockingly. The Ji clan is an ancient clan, it has existed for a long time, and is really strong. You invited many people to talk about cultivation because you wanted to show how strong you were. However, the only young emperor of the Ji clan who can be considered strong is Ji Chang. I don't understand something though, how come you are so proud? I am a medium-level emperor, and at the same cultivation level, how many of your people can compete with me? Lin Feng sounded calm and indifferent. The strong cultivators of the Ji clan were furious. Lin Feng was talking loudly, and didn't sound provocative, he sounded like he was just stating facts. To the Ji clan, it was a horrible humiliation. The Ji clan was an ancient clan, they had great power, and many of their young people studied at the 4 different universities. Lin Feng was saying that at the same cultivation level, nobody in the Ji clan could defeat him. Everybody thought Lin Feng was right, it was a fact. At the same cultivation level, he could destroy anyone from the Ji clan. Chapter 1932, Power and Influence, How Arrogant, blurted out many of the younger people seated behind the leader of the Ji clan. At that moment, their chi was terrifying, pulsing and spreading towards Lin Feng like rolling thunder. Lin Feng's hair fluttered in the wind. However, Lin Feng remained motionless. He ignored them, and as he silently stared at Shi Hao Tian, Tan Tai took a disdainful step forwards, and jeered, "Shi Hao Tian, back then during the battle between Tian Tai and the Moon Group, you attacked Lin Feng's clone. You were very arrogant. What's going on now?" Lin Feng came back with his real body. "You're the 4th in the Celestial Champion ranking list, and now you don't dare accept Lin Feng's challenge to a battle to death. Is the second cultivator of Ji Chang's club a coward?" added Qin Wu icily. Shi Hao Tian's expression changed drastically. His face even turned pale blue. "No matter whether you accept or not, you can't avoid a battle today," declared Lin Feng icily. He raced forwards, a crazy smile on his face as he released his chi towards Shi Hao Tian. Shi Hao Tian sensed the death energy surround him. Dazzling lights emerged from his eyes. Lin Feng was forcing him to fight. "How arrogant," interrupted someone at that moment. 9 cyan dragon totems appeared behind Ji Chang as he jumped forwards to intercept Lin Feng. A terrifying destructive chi invaded the air as the earth and sky started shaking. Ji Chang's eyes were dazzling, he looked like an ancient dragon king. "Humph," he groaned icily. A terrifying bestial chi slammed into him, the crowd heard whistling sounds as the ground cracked. A red silhouette flashed to intercept him. That silhouette had dragon scales and looked extremely aggressive. The crowd was stupefied. Aoshu was throwing himself at Ji Chang. What a powerful bestial chi. He has a blood dragon body. He looks extremely aggressive. He's a beast, the onlookers swore. That person dared attack Ji Chang because he was extremely strong and aggressive. Ji Chang's eyes glittered. A terrifying destructive Dao strength filled the air. Aoshu's aggressive strength crackled as it ground against it. Ji Chang's Dao determination is impressive. He's stronger than that guy. He can oppress him, the audience observed. Ji Chang and Aoshu had exchanged only a few attacks, and it seemed that the earth and sky were going to collapse. "Die!" shouted Ji Chang furiously. Cyan dragons shone, 9 of them charging towards Aoshu. Aoshu roared his defiance. His aggressive chi continued pulsing and building. He looked nearly berserk. He punched out with his fists, and blood dragons kept roaring and colliding with the cyan dragon with violent explosions. A dragon, the crowd was astonished. Aoshu's arms had dragon scales. He looked even more ferocious and bloodthirsty. Ji Chang jumped forwards. Each time he made a step, the ground cracked, and small craters appeared under his body. It was as if no amount of strength could stop him. Aoshu appeared wild and crazy as his strength kept rising to the skies. Ji Chang's Dao was brutal. He slowly turned into a dragon as his scales expanded, finally turning into a blood dragon. He looked astonishingly scary. "A dragon, is he from the dragon clan?" the crowd asked in astonishment. Lin Feng's friends were truly scary. He knew someone who had a world king body, someone who had an imperial immortal body, and now had a friend who was a bloodthirsty and aggressive blood dragon. The two fighters got closer, their strength kept colliding, and the air around them kept exploding. "Move," demanded Ji Chang icily. Even if he was facing a dragon, he was fearless. His cyan dragon totems were dazzling and pressuring Aoshu. Aoshu's gigantic eyes were ice-cold as he stared at Ji Chang. The champion was extremely strong, as expected, but Aoshu didn't flinch. Lights as red as blood shone and Aoshu moved forwards fearlessly. On the other side, Lin Feng released death strength on Shi Hao Tian before landing in front of him, staring him in the eyes. Shi Hao Tian retreated. Lin Feng was surrounded by life and death lights. Death strength penetrated into Shi Hao Tian's body and started eating away his life painfully. His vitality was disappearing from his body. Terrifying death lights glittered. Shi Hao Tian released even more qi to counter, looking more and more terrifying. He also released soul strength to pressure Lin Feng. Lin Feng punched out. His purple death tank rumbled as he charged forwards. Marks appeared around him as he turned into a light beam and used some empty space strength too. His life and death lights grew more and more dazzling as he also released Devamara Kulpa strength to rotate around his body. Shi Hao Tian kept retreating quickly, releasing more and more qi at the same time. He attacked the tank, which started breaking. Die! Shi Hao Tian sensed death sword energy moving towards him. It contained some sword stamp strength, and his soul felt like it was going to explode. His qi gathered and turned into a gigantic glyph, courage, filled with strength. After that strength exploded, he stopped retreating and started running forwards. He looked very courageous suddenly. The earth and sky were filled with death kulpa sword strength shooting towards Shi Hao Tian. However, Shi Hao Tian still didn't retreat. As he stepped forwards, he looked more and more courageous. Many courage glyphs rained down and slowly destroyed the sword kulpa strength. Lin Feng just looked at him icily. It was as if he would never run out of death strength. His life and death pattern was growing bigger and bigger, blotting out the sky. More and more death swords appeared, containing an invisible sword intent. Lin Feng remained motionless, but death swords kept slicing through the sky. He made a step forwards and his sword intent became even more terrifying, fusing together with the earth and sky, and shattering the courage qi. Die! Shouted Lin Feng explosively. His dazzling death strength pulsed out and crashed onto Shi Hao Tian, eating away his life. Shi Hao Tian groaned in pain, and suddenly felt much less courageous. He was walking on the path of courage, but Lin Feng was destroying his courage. The death strength pushed the courage qi back relentlessly. Shi Hao Tian had the sensation that millions of swords were cutting apart his soul. His courage qi gradually disappeared. Thunder rumbled from nowhere as his courage broke apart, and his qi disappeared. His life wasn't in his hands anymore. Lin Feng flashed forwards, in front of Shi Hao Tian. His eyes black and cold. Shi Hao Tian had the feeling he was going to collapse. You dared bark in front of me back then," hissed Lin Feng. He stretched his hands out and grabbed Shi Hao Tian. Shi Hao Tian didn't resist, his soul had been overwhelmed by death strength. Lin Feng just had to think about it and he could crush Shi Hao Tian's soul and kill him. "Try and dare," shouted Ji Chang icily. He forced away Aoshu, who was blocking him, and raced towards Lin Feng, releasing destructive qi. Maybe he could kill Lin Feng from a distance. What an incredible and scary battle. That's how strong a cultivator of the top of the Huang Qi layer in Champion University is, thought the crowd, sighing and staring at Ji Chang as he tried to crush Lin Feng. The senior cultivators of Champion University looked surprised, although they remained silent and still looked above it all. They enjoyed watching such battles. There weren't many opportunities to watch such fights in normal circumstances. This battle was between geniuses of Champion University. Lin Feng slowly turned around and looked at Ji Chang. His eyes were still filled with death intent. "Let him off," ordered Ji Chang icily. His cyan dragon totems were shining brightly. He looked like an ancient god as he bore down on Lin Feng. "When I joined Champion University, I had been a low-level emperor for only a short time. I was as strong as Ji Wuyo back then. Back then, people already said that you were going to become a champion. So many years have passed, and you are just being declared a champion. You're not talented. At least, in hell, I saw many people who were much, much stronger than you, replied Lin Feng indifferently. Then he punched Shi Hao Tian, and bones shattered like porcelain. Shi Hao Tian was smashed away, his bones turned to mush. Lin Feng didn't even look at him, he just stared back at Ji Chang. The hearts of the audience were pounding as they watched. Chapter 1933, Changes at University. Lin Feng was right. Relying on his own strength, he had risen within Champion University. A few years before, he was a low-level emperor. He had fought against Puyang, Yuan Jing, and Ji Wuyo, who were on the ranking list. He had defeated Ji Wuyo, and become famous. It was also why Tian Tai had become famous. However, after that, Lin Feng had disappeared, and was rarely seen, only leaving his clone at the university. Tian Tai's strong cultivators had risen step by step, relying on their own strength too, until they fought back against the Moon Group. But then a nightmare had started. Ji Chang's club and the Stone Group had started oppressing them together. They had disappeared for 3 years, and then Lin Feng's real body had come back. Lin Feng was still in the lower ranking list, but now he had destroyed the Moon Group and the Stone Group. He had also killed the leader of the Stone Group, Zhong Ke. He had also defeated the 4th student of the Celestial Champion ranking list, Shi Hao Tian. He had become terrifyingly strong. Very few people progressed as fast as Lin Feng. Even Ji Chang hadn't progressed as quickly as Lin Feng. Lin Feng even dared fight against Ji Chang. Lin Feng had said that he had seen many people who were much stronger than Ji Chang in hell, of course at the same cultivation level. Lin Feng knew a great emperor couldn't be compared with someone like Ji Chang. But in hell, at the same cultivation level, many people were much stronger than Ji Chang. Ji Chang wasn't furious. He just looked at Lin Feng coldly. His eyes were shining with light. When people looked at his eyes, they had the impression their souls were going to break apart. Ji Chang charged ahead. Cyan dragons shone, the air around seemed like it was going to collapse. Lin Feng sensed the destructive qi surround and pressed down on him. Lin Feng condensed both life and death qi, evading quickly, and his life and death pattern appeared under his feet. His life and death pattern looked like a yin-yang symbol with the parts being replaced by life and death energies, with Lin Feng was in the middle of the pattern. The earth and sky were suddenly filled with death strength. Dragons chanted. Ji Chang kept charging for Lin Feng as the ground kept shaking unceasingly. His destructive strength pulsed and built up. As Ji Chang ran, his strength was becoming more and more terrifying. A death sword whistled across the sky. A cyan dragon appeared above Ji Chang's body, dazzling destructive lights appeared and collided with the death sword. Competing strengths kept exploding and dispersing. Ji Chang understood Tao better than Lin Feng, and his destructive Tao was indeed powerful. Ji Chang landed in front of Lin Feng, giving Lin Feng the sensation he was going to be destroyed utterly. Annihilate. An endless amount of death strength emerged from Lin Feng's life and death pattern and attacked Ji Chang's face. His face turned gray as the death strength corroded his life. Ji Chang used the destructive strength in his body to wipe out the death stamps in his body. After a few seconds, Ji Chang's face returned to normal again. An illusionary dragon punch appeared and shot out at Lin Feng. Ji Chang kept punching out and dragons kept appearing. The weaker members of the audience started suffocating and their hearts pounded at the pressure. Lin Feng flashed away and more dazzling lights appeared as he suddenly vanished, the dragon punches striking nothing. He reappeared behind Ji Chang as his Kulpa strength materialized and turned into an endless array of death Kulpa swords. Ji Chang grunted coldly. A gigantic hand appeared, and in a flash, the Death Culpa sword strength exploded uselessly. The crowd was astonished. Ji Chang's destructive Tao was truly incredible. Lin Feng's attacks were scary enough, he could kill many people instantly, but Ji Chang was simply too strong. However, Lin Feng didn't look hesitant or scared. More intertwining death marks appeared. His body turned into shadows as more sword energies whistled. Death Qi descended from the sky. Ji Chang ran towards the life and death pattern, every step like thunder. He stomped on the life and death pattern, which started cracking. Lin Feng released more death strength. Ji Chang wasn't as strong as Juzi, but Lin Feng wasn't in his small world, so Ji Chang could attack his deployment spell directly. Besides, Ji Chang's destructive Tao was impressive. There was quite a difference between Lin Feng and Ji Chang, an entire cultivation level. However, Lin Feng had already reached his goal. Of course, he wouldn't surrender so easily. Suddenly, clones appeared everywhere. At the same time, silver wings appeared on those clones' backs, blotting out the sky. Ji Chang raised his head and smiled coldly. He shook his head, dragon tanks appeared and opened a path. He started destroying the clones. However, the remaining clones continued flying towards Ji Chang, breaking one after another. A strong wind started blowing as the last few clones arrived in front of Ji Chang. He smiled coldly and glanced at the clone in front of him. He punched it and then the other, shattering all of them. However, he sensed a sudden wave of death strength. Death strength penetrated into his body and the dragon above his head. Whistling sounds heralded the arrival of an almost invisible clone. It was Lin Feng's real body, moving so fast he seemed invisible. Die! Shouted Lin Feng explosively. He released demon culpa strength into his life and death pattern. Ji Chang shouted furiously in defiance. Cyan dragons appeared and moved towards Lin Feng's energies. Destructive strength kept destroying Lin Feng's attacks. At the same time, Lin Feng withdrew and put some distance between him and Ji Chang. Lin Feng struck out with his fists again, and a terrifying strength moved towards Ji Chang's head. However, Ji Chang simply turned to face him. A destructive strength emerged from his eyes as death strength emerged from Lin Feng's eyes, and the four threads of strength collided. Lin Feng sensed a dangerous strength pressing down on his soul. A dragon roared as they both collided again, explosions ringing out. A strong wind started blowing as Lin Feng used his Nihility Death Sword, slicing away at Ji Chang's soul. Without his Cyan dragon and his destructive Tao, Ji Chang would have already been stamped to death by Lin Feng. There was another explosion, and Ji Chang and Lin Feng moved away from one another again. Both cultivators' faces had turned deathly pale. Lin Feng shook his hands and released life energy to heal his arms. Destructive strength had already almost destroyed his muscles and bones. He was staring at Ji Chang, his eyes still filled with death strength. Ji Chang also destroyed the death qi that had infiltrated his body. His face, which had started turning gray, returned to normal again. He flexed his hands. Lin Feng was a good fighter, and his physical strength was also incredible. Even though Ji Chang could pressure Lin Feng with his destructive Tao, he had to be very careful, or the consequences could be disastrous. Ji Chang released even more qi, and turned into a dazzling light beam. His qi was even more terrifying than before. Waves of energies pulsed loudly. Lin Feng released even more death strength, which turned into a river. His face was filled with demonic resolve. No matter how strong Ji Chang was, Lin Feng wouldn't flinch. "That's enough," shouted someone at that moment. The crowd looked at the speaker. It was Ancestor Xian Tian. It was great to see such a battle. "You don't need to fight anymore," Ancestor Xian Tian said calmly. The crowd sighed. Champion University had acknowledged Lin Feng. Ji Chang couldn't kill Lin Feng anymore. Champion University didn't want to lose Lin Feng. Ancestor Xian Tian, the battle between those two young men is not over. Let them battle happily, the leader of the Ji clan disagreed. His eyes were glittering. Even though Lin Feng and Ji Chang had proved that they had a similar strength, he had noticed that Ji Chang had the advantage, so he wanted to see Ji Chang win. But even he was amazed by Lin Feng's talent. Back then, he defeated Ji Wuyo. 3 years later, he's able to fight against Ji Chang. The result of the battle doesn't matter anymore, said Yun Qin Yen calmly. Tan Tai laughed and said, 3 years, and soon Lin Feng will become a champion. I won't be a champion any time near as quickly. Chapter 1934, Shui Fan. When the crowd heard Yun Qin Yen and Tan Tai's words, they sighed. Indeed, even though Ji Chang had the advantage, Lin Feng had displayed an incredible strength. In their eyes, Ji Chang was even the loser. After all, 3 years before, he was still going to become the champion, and back then, Lin Feng was only a low-level emperor. Of course, nobody thought that Ji Chang was weak. Before knowing about Lin Feng, everybody considered him as a peerless cultivator within the university, and knew they would never be able to catch up with him. That had changed now. Now they considered Lin Feng a second Ji Chang, a second true genius. Lin Feng had already caught up with Ji Chang. From this moment on, everybody would respect him and admire him. Maybe he would surpass Ji Chang someday. They're of the same generation, they could both be proclaimed as champions, observed Ancestor Xian Tian. To Ancestor Xian Tian, both were champions. It was something incredible for the university too. Among the 4 universities, it was already rare to see a champion in one generation. For example, the Ancient University and the Four Seasons University had never had a champion. 2 champions. The crowd was stupefied. This was a flourishing era for the Celestial Godly University and Champion University. Ying Cheng was already a champion. Chu Chun Chiu had the potential to become a champion, and might reach that limit soon as well. In the 2 other universities, those who had special bodies all had the potential to become champions. After all, having a special body was something momentous. Those who did were usually incredibly strong. The ceremony is over. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions and your participation, said Ancestor Xian Tian to the crowd politely. He looked at Lin Feng and said, we're done for today. From now on, don't try to kill one another within the university. Tian Tai has their revenge. Now let bygones be bygones. Let bygones be bygones. The audience was astonished. Thanks to his strength, Lin Feng had managed to protect Tian Tai. Ji Chang looked at Ancestor Xian Tian and then turned around. He knew why the university was doing this. It was because Lin Feng was strong. Lin Feng, I'll see you on the Pathfinder Day of the Imperial Ranking List, he shouted loudly. Pathfinder Day of the Imperial Ranking List. Lin Feng didn't understand. He had never heard of that before. The crowd looked at Lin Feng. Naturally, after a battle like that, Lin Feng was going to be on the Imperial Ranking List. He would definitely make the top 30. There were many geniuses in the Holy City, and many of them were students in the 4 universities. However, those who were acknowledged in the entire city were on 2 lists, the Imperial Ranking List and the Great Imperial Ranking List. The Great Imperial Ranking List was symbolic, it was a list of the strongest great emperors. The Imperial Ranking List was also symbolic because people on it were the future of the Holy City. The most influential groups all hoped their young members could be ranked in the Imperial Ranking List. Those who were at the top of the Imperial Ranking List often had incredible abilities, or special inheritances, such as king body types. Lin Feng had shown on the day of Ji Chang's champion ceremony. From this day forward, he would be famous. Ancestor, Lin Feng said to Ancestor Xian Tian. Yes, Lin Feng, what do you want? Ancestor Xian Tian answered calmly. I still need an explanation, Lin Feng declared. He sounded calm and serene. My people explained everything. Now, I need an explanation. Lin Feng turned and looked at the law enforcement officer, his eyes still filled with death strength. The law enforcement officer suddenly felt a bit cold, and a bit lost. Lin Feng was evil. The university had acknowledged him, and now he was using that influence against others. The cultivation world wasn't fair. Back then, Lin Feng was weak, and nobody had cared about him. Now he had just proven he was extremely strong, and in doing so proved he was important. The university wanted to protect him now. Ancestor Xian Tian looked at the law enforcement officer coldly. The man was suddenly soaked with cold sweat. A potential champion was mad at him. It wasn't good. You're a law enforcement officer, you violated the rules of the university. You know you committed an offense, right? Ancestor Xian Tian asked calmly. The law enforcement officer felt dizzy, his bones were ice cold. Ancestor, please forgive me, replied the officer, kneeling down. He didn't look furious, only rather desperate. You're a member of this university. I'll cut off one of your arms and I will expel you from the university. Do you have anything to say? Ancestor Xian Tian asked, as if inquiring about the weather. The officer was relieved. Even though he was going to lose an arm, he knew the sentence wasn't too severe. If Ancestor Xian Tian had chosen to cripple his cultivation, then his whole life would have been over. Thank you, Ancestor, answered the officer, prostrating himself. There was a cracking sound, and his left arm disappeared. Go now, Ancestor Xian Tian said indifferently. The officer stood up, bowed before Ancestor Xian Tian once more, and left. He glanced at Lin Feng when leaving, but there was no hatred in his gaze. He was just stunned. Lin Feng was an incredible cultivator, and he had offended Lin Feng, so now he had paid the price for his mistake. After he left, Ancestor Xian Tian looked back at Lin Feng and asked, Lin Feng, are you satisfied now? Thank you very much, Ancestor. Lin Feng bowed before Ancestor Xian Tian. He had nothing more to say, everything had turned out quite good already. Now, Lin Feng needed to make Tiantai rise. Nobody would dare offend them, at least, for a few years. Tiantai's disciples were all strong and talented, Tiantai, Wu, Qing Feng, and many others. They had all studied the celestial evolution holy scriptures, and were all incredibly talented. Ho Qing Lin understood reincarnation Tao, and was incredible. He would become like Ji Chang in the future. You can go back too, Ancestor Xian Tian waved off Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded to Tiantai and Jun Mo Shi, and they left with the other cultivators from Tiantai. They all clenched their fists excitedly. They had been humiliated and bullied a lot, but now they were going back happy. All of them were also pleasantly surprised by Lin Feng's strength. Nobody would dare offend them after this. The action and ceremony over, the crowd also dispersed. In Tiantai's buildings, Tiantai kept laughing wholeheartedly. 3 people arrived outside of Tiantai. They were all wearing white clothes. There were a very handsome young man and 2 beautiful women. Who are you? Some disciples from Tiantai blocked them off. Their leader frowned. What was going on? We want to see someone, stated Xue Fan indifferently, continuing to walk forwards. 2 cultivators from Tiantai wanted to block them, but Xue Fan released old strength and blocked them off. Everything around them froze. The 2 cultivators from Tiantai looked at them icily as the 3 cultivators continued walking forwards. In Tiantai's inner courtyard, people started feeling a chill, and couldn't help but turn around. Who were those 3 good-looking people? The 3 cultivators walked forwards, staring at Meng Qing. You're from the Snow Clan? Asked Xue Fan, frowning. He had never seen Meng Qing in the Snow Clan. With her chi and beauty, she would have stood out even in the Snow Clan as well. Chapter 1935, meditating in seclusion. Lin Feng looked at the trio and frowned. He had already seen Xue Fan at the Ji clan. These people were from the Snow clan. Meng Qing looked at Xue Fan and sensed that they had a similar qi. She understood where these people were from. No, replied Meng Qing calmly. Xue Fan's eyes glittered. He had seen the battle between Tian Tai and the Stone Group and the Moon Group. Meng Qing had to be from the Snow clan. Let me see, said Xue Fan, reaching for Meng Qing. Lin Feng interposed himself and looked at Xue Fan coldly. She said she isn't, so she isn't, stated Lin Feng icily. Xue Fan stared at Lin Feng aloofly. Lin Feng had the sensation his soul was going to freeze. The temperature in the courtyard kept decreasing, and Tiantai's people started shivering. Lin Feng was rapidly surrounded by a layer of ice. Xue Fan said coldly, even though you are strong, it doesn't mean that you can act arrogantly in front of people from the Snow clan. Move now. Xue Fan sounded cold and detached. People from the Snow clan were very respected in the holy city. They were also very strong. These three people had come to the holy city to study, which meant they had a very high social status within their clan. And Meng Qing seemed to be from the Snow clan, so he had to make sure of her heritage. Lin Feng felt colder and colder. Suddenly, death strength appeared in his eyes and pierced through Xue Fan's brain. Xue Fan was astonished as he tried to freeze the death strength. Are we in the Snow clan or Tian Tai? Lin Feng asked. A million nihility swords whistled and moved toward Xue Fan's head. Xue Fan had the sensation he was going to die, even as some threads of death sword strength started freezing. However, Lin Feng continued walking towards him and releasing Death Culpa sword strength in waves. Insolent. Xue Fan was astonished. Lin Feng dared attack him. Snowflakes started floating around, and everything started freezing. Lin Feng felt so cold he started slowing down. The ice layer on Lin Feng's body suddenly broke apart and a river of death strength started flowing through the air. Xue Fan retreated quickly. At that moment, Tiantai's people also rushed over and surrounded Xue Fan and the two others. The three hurriedly flashed back outside of Tiantai's territory. Piss off, said Lin Feng, glaring at those three people with his death eyes. Xue Fan and the two others sensed the death energy surround them. How scary, the atmosphere around them was freezing from more than ice. How audacious, swore Xue Fan, glancing back at them. He turned around and said, let's go. Then, the three people rose up in the air and left. Snowflakes kept falling from the sky. It was beautiful. The Snow clan. Aoshu stared after them in astonishment. Then, he looked at Meng Qing, Lin Feng's wife. Her qi did look like the qi of the Snow clan. Lin Feng walked over to Meng Qing, grabbed her arm, and smiled, the Snow clan can't take you away from me. All right, replied Meng Qing, smiling gently. Lin Feng, we won this time. But we have to be careful, it's going to be more and more difficult. As we become stronger, our enemies also become stronger and stronger, Ho Qing Lin said to Lin Feng. Lin could feel the pressure. Ji Chang wasn't ordinary, and the Ji clan was an ancient clan. Now, the Snow clan was also causing trouble. Lin Feng and Tian Tai were becoming famous, so they would only gain more enemies with time. I know, brother. Sorry for getting you guys involved in all of this. Each time someone becomes a core disciple in Tian Tai, don't forget to give them the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, that's the only way we can become stronger, Lin Feng said to Ho Qing Lin. Ho Qing Lin nodded agreement. The Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures were extraordinary ancient Holy Scriptures. They would contribute to making Tian Tai extremely strong. I need some time to meditate in seclusion. I will leave an ordinary clone outside, and leave the rest to you for now, Lin Feng to everyone. Don't worry, Lin Feng. Do your own thing, you're talented. You're almost as strong as Ji Chang, the only reason you're weaker is one cultivation level. When you reach his level, you'll easily be able to kill him and you'll become the champion, said Tantai happily. Everybody nodded. Lin Feng had helped them a lot. They all needed to become stronger, and they couldn't waste time. Brother, you also understand Dao's strength. We all need to keep it up, said Wuxia, smiling thinly. Everybody nodded again. Dao power was incredible. Lin Feng's Dao strength was greater than Zhong Kei's, it was how he had been defeated despite the level difference. Lin Feng had killed Zhong Kei and Shi Hao Tian thanks to his Dao strength. Lin Feng glanced around at them all and smiled. Tiantai's people were great. They knew what they had to do. Aoshu, what do you intend to do? Asked Lin Feng to Aoshu. I don't know either. Chill for a while and then leave, replied Aoshu, laughing easily. Alright, Aoshu. I want to ask you something. About the demon dragon? Asked Aoshu. Lin Feng nodded. Aoma grew up in my blood, he can't be less talented than me. He has many of my powers, if he could study in the dragon clan, he would progress much faster. After all, he is a dragon. Alright, give him to me. Aoshu nodded. After that, Lin Feng looked at Jian Mang and said, Jian Mang, you can leave whenever you want. I won't force you to do anything anymore. Jian Mang said nothing. He just remained silent as Lin Feng took Meng Qing away to a hidden chamber. There, he began improving his small world, making it even better. The population of Xueyu would increase with time. Then Lin Feng went to the imperial palace of Xueyu, and the heavenly grace ancient tree. Many blue Uptala lotuses had started growing there was a beautiful qi all around. The surrounding area had turned into an Uptala world. The qi kept dispersing and flowing with the wind all around Xueyu. In the middle of all those blue Uptala lotuses, there was a gigantic lotus with 9 petals. They kept dancing in the wind, and contained powerful cosmic energies. The heavenly grace ancient tree's energy kept intertwining with the blue Uptala lotuses. It was incredibly beautiful. What a beautiful scene! Thought Lin Feng. The heavenly grace ancient tree and the lotuses were fusing together. The heavenly grace ancient tree gave birth to the 10,000 things of creation while the lotuses contained them all. Lin Feng jumped onto the blue Uptala lotus. There was a beautiful silhouette inside, a frozen statue. Lin Feng caressed her. Lin Feng, is that blue Uptala lotus alive? And who's that girl? Asked Meng Qing. Lin Feng sensed the qi flowing throughout his body. He was sat down quietly. Meng Qing, this flower is a teacher I had in hell. That frozen girl is his daughter. Meng Qing was shocked. Lin Feng told her what he had gone through in hell. Meng Qing was astounded and touched the frozen statue. Officer Uptala and Qing Qing were very good people. Poor them. Officer Uptala did that to protect Qing Qing, it's a good thing. I am sure he is still alive. I can feel it. Meng Qing looked at Lin Feng and smiled gently. I think so too. Officer Uptala is definitely alive. That flower is his life, whispered Lin Feng. He sat down cross-legged and bathed in the energy of the 10,000 things of creation. The flower Officer Uptala had made with his life, it was like a mark of the path. Being next to the heavenly grace ancient tree was a perfect place to practice cultivation. Chapter 1936, Becoming stronger inside his small world. Apart from practicing cultivation, he also spent some time with his family. Lin Feng was annoyed because Wu Shang and Xiaoye kept saying they wanted to travel in the great world. So Lin Feng allowed Meng Qing to go and travel with them a bit. Even though Xueyu kept becoming bigger and stronger thanks to the cosmic energies, some people wanted to go to other places like Lin Feng. Some others had also started creating their own clans and sections. That was a good thing for the empire. It meant it was powerful. Of course, the process was a slow one. Things couldn't happen in the frame of dozens of years. A powerful tribe could be created in dozens of years, but a powerful country needed at least hundreds of years. Time passed. In the imperial palace of Shuiyu, Lin Feng was seated cross-legged inside the blue Uptala lotus. Cosmic strength kept flowing throughout his body. He was absorbing the cosmic energy of the 10,000 things of creation. Suddenly, Lin Feng opened his eyes. The blue Uptala lotus was humming and emitting dazzling lights. All sorts of cosmic energies surrounded him. He slowly stood up and jumped, landing down in front of the ebon Heavenly Grace Ancient Tree. Heavenly Grace Ancient Tree, it gives birth to the 10,000 things of creation. The previous owner was a demon emperor. Even though nobody or nothing submits to a demon, the tree's cosmic strength hasn't changed, it still gave birth to the 10,000 things of creation, whispered Lin Feng. Then, he shook the tree, unrooting it and putting it inside of his body. Suddenly, Lin Feng was surrounded by cosmic energies. Officer, this year, you'll come with me to the great world. I wonder if I'll understand the path of Uptala, murmured Lin Feng. He put Qing Qing inside another blue Uptala lotus and put Officer Uptala's blue Uptala lotus inside his body before rising up into the air. Many things had happened in the holy city during this year as well. Everybody had become stronger, including Tiantai's cultivators. Lin Feng was probably the only one who hadn't progressed. He had done nothing in the small world. He had studied that qi and that's all. He knew that understanding energy wasn't a waste of time, it could change everything. He didn't mind spending time comprehending such things. Above Champion University, a blue Uptala lotus appeared and moved away from the school. After leaving the university's airspace, the blue Uptala lotus disappeared into the horizon. After a short time, in a distant mountain range, the flower landed at the top of a mountain. A mysterious qi filled the air. Standing on the blue Uptala lotus was a silhouette, Lin Feng. Lin Feng was feeling the strength of the lotus. Thanks to the heavenly grace godly wood inside his body, Lin Feng realized the connection between him and cosmic energies was getting deeper and deeper. Lin Feng slowly closed his eyes. He was getting more and more familiar with those cosmic energies. A black light appeared in front of Lin Feng. And then lights of many other colors started flashing all around him, yellow, red, gray, they turned into threads of lights and intertwined. However, Lin Feng had a strange sensation. He knew they existed, but he couldn't control them. I can break through as a demon, thought Lin Feng. Many more black lights appeared, condensing into more and more black stars around him. They surrounded his body, and gradually drew closer. At that moment, Lin Feng looked calm and composed. The heavenly grace godly wood in his body lit brightly. Its roots grew and became bigger. The black demon lights turned into a big black ball of light. I don't care if the gods have abandoned me. My cosmic energies are more powerful than the cosmic energies of the earth and sky. The cosmic energies of both worlds need to fuse together and become solely mine. Lin Feng was determined. The cosmic energies of different types turned into a river of energies. After that, a strong wind started blowing and the river turned into an ocean of demonic strength. An incredible strength shook Lin Feng violently. The demon energies began to rotate and form a vortex of extreme purity. Lin Feng groaned with pain as the air around him flared with power. Lin Feng suddenly opened his eyes and sensed the demonic strength. Fire started burning, dust started rising, cursing strength started whistling. All sorts of cosmic energies appeared in the air. In the sky, cosmic energies condensed. It was like a furious ocean had appeared in the sky. The cosmic energies condensed and turned into a strong wind as all the energies collided. I did it. Lin Feng raised his head, and dazzling light beams shot up to the sky. Terrifying cosmic energies surrounded him as he shouted furiously, since the earth and sky don't want to acknowledge me, I'll control them myself. He released more cosmic energies as his hair fluttered in the wind. He looked like a cosmic god. Even though the mountain range was isolated, there were still some cultivators there. When they sensed that the sky was behaving strangely, they raised their heads in astonishment. What's going on? Those watching were puzzled, their hearts pounding violently. It looked like someone was breaking through to become an emperor, but the cosmic energies were much more terrifying than when a cultivator was breaking through to the Huangqi layer. There were several sorts of cosmic energies too, which was extremely strange. They saw fire, earth, and all other sorts of cosmic energies, all intertwining. There were many, many threads of cosmic energies. It was a spectacular display, like a rainbow of cosmic energies. The top of the mountain, the cultivators rose up into the air and looked at the top of a certain mountain. The rainbow of cosmic energies covered its peak. However, they could see a blurry silhouette inside, and a lotus. A lotus was being cleansed by all these cosmic energies. What's going on? They were astonished, and didn't understand. They had never seen anything like this before. Dozens of cosmic energies descending from the sky and cleansing a cultivator's body. And those cosmic energies were much more powerful than when someone broke through to the Huangqi layer, too. They had no idea what was going on. Lin Feng was bathing in the cosmic energies and enjoying it even though it was painful. He felt powerful, felt the gods couldn't stop him. From this moment on, he'd be able to use the cosmic energies of the outside world too. He would be able to use the cosmic energies of the earth and sky in addition to his own, and would become even more powerful. He would explode out, he was successfully defying the gods. More and more people rushed over to watch this astonishing sight. Finally, the cosmic energies dispersed and a young man appeared in their field of vision, standing on a great blue lotus. The young man opened his eyes, his hair still fluttering in the wind. He was still assimilating the cosmic energies he had just absorbed. A medium-level emperor. When the people saw him, they were stunned. People broke through to the Huangqi layer when they became low-level emperors, not medium-level emperors. Had he skipped the low-level Huangqi layer and broken straight through to the medium Huangqi layer because his cosmic energies were too powerful? Some people started flying towards Lin Feng to question him. However, at that moment, thunder rumbled, and a black cloud congealed out of nowhere, rising with breathtaking speed. It contained terrifying amounts of Kulpa strength. Crackling and shattering sounds filled the air as the Kulpa strength pierced the sky. Very quickly, the crowd saw the Devamara Kulpa strength moving towards that young man on the lotus. They gulped despite themselves. What kind of strength was that? Chapter 1937, Great Progress. The demon cloud in the sky dispersed. The crowd swallowed again at the incredible show. Who was this young man? His body had been cleansed by so many sorts of cosmic energies, and then by Devamara Kulpa strength. They had never seen anything like that before. Some people moved up closer to Lin Feng. One of them asked cautiously, "Who are you?" Lin Feng looked back at him. His eyes were terrifying, he made the man's soul shiver. The man thought, this guy is a medium-level emperor, why does he look so scary? Lin Feng's lotus rose up into the air and emitted whistling sounds. People's eyes glittered. They wanted to chase him, but they had a bad premonition, so they gave up the idea. Lin Feng looked extraordinary. Offending him probably wasn't a good idea. Lin Feng had chosen that place because he had hoped he wouldn't draw too many people's attention. He headed back to Champion University and went to a secret room to re-enter his own small world. The Heavenly Grace ancient tree appeared in the Imperial Palace once again. Lin Feng jumped up on the blue Uptala lotus, and all sorts of cosmic energies rose up in the air for Lin Feng to bathe in. Afterwards, Lin Feng put the Heavenly Grace ancient tree in his body once again. He absorbed the blue Uptala lotus intent. The cosmic energies of the earth and sky and his own world fused together. Finally, he had managed to completely control the cosmic energies of the outside world. He stretched his hand and looked at the mysterious cosmic energies fusing together. He had the sensation they couldn't really fuse together though, they were just intertwined. I understand the intent of the blue Uptala lotus. Maybe I can just borrow Tao strength from it since I haven't understood it for too long a time, murmured Lin Feng. His silhouette flickered, and he left that area, stopping at the demon pond next. He dove into it, sensing the Devamara strength cleanse his body. It was painful, but he was becoming stronger. He didn't mind the pain if he could become stronger. After enduring a great deal of pain, Lin Feng could feel that his physical strength had improved again. He rose up in the air, and clenched his fists which crackled as he smiled happily. His physical body improved faster than his cultivation, and he now had the physical strength of a high-level emperor. It meant that medium-level emperors' physical attacks couldn't affect him anymore, and if ordinary high-level emperors attacked him using physical strength, it wouldn't be very efficient either. He could easily crush them using just his physical strength. Lin Feng now understood the cosmic energies of the outside world, and his physical strength had improved. Now, he needed to improve his control of Tao strength, and he also needed to fuse his cosmic energies together better. His silhouette flickered again, and he landed in front of an ancient mountain. There was a cliff in front of him, shiny moss growing all over it. Lin Feng could sense ancient imprints moving towards him, all of them quite powerful. Those were world of the living imprints. They were just as strong as before. Lin Feng was pushed hard and slid backwards. He studied the world of the living imprints, his eyes dark and solemn. He could sense that the world of the living strength was mysterious. World of the living imprints, world of the living imprints. Lin Feng slid backwards and then walked forwards again, slowly comprehending the ancient imprints. Lin Feng forgot about time, remaining focused. Whistling sound spread out as he visualized the imprints in his brain. An endless amount of ancient imprints moved towards Lin Feng from every direction. Each time, Lin Feng didn't picture ancient imprints, he visualized the strength of a world, the kind of strength that contained every kind of strength of that world. It was as if all sorts of strength could fuse together in a perfect way, and didn't belong to any kind of qi. I can't really understand world of the living imprints, murmured Lin Feng. He finally stopped and left to go back to the real world. Lin Feng returned to the courtyard of Tiantai and Yun Qin Yen went out to him. She looked at him, her beautiful eyes twinkling. She smiled and said, "You finally came out. Now you finally look like a medium-level emperor. You made great progress. You're quite strong too. Your qi is stable and you're at the top of the medium Huang qi layer. You'll soon be a high-level emperor." Lin Feng smiled back. Yun Qin Yen was already a medium-level emperor when Lin Feng had first met her, and now she was at the top of the medium Huang qi layer. So what? I'm far from being as strong as you, Yun Qin Yen pouted. A year before, Lin Feng had killed Zhong Ke, defeated Shi Hao Tian, and replaced him on the Celestial Champion ranking list, becoming the 4th student there. However, considering his battle against Ji Chang, many people considered that he should have been the 3rd student. Now that a year had passed, how strong had he become? What about Ho Qing Lin? Asked Lin Feng. He's traveling with Tiantai's disciples. Each time they come back, they only stay for a few days. They don't waste time, Yun Qin Yen informed him. I wonder how fast they can progress by practicing cultivation like that, Lin Feng smiled. He glanced at someone who was seated there. It was Jian Mang. You haven't left? Lin Feng asked him, surprised he was still around. The atmosphere in Champion University is good. Why would I leave? Replied Jian Mang indifferently. He always sounded indifferent and detached. He was always the same, even when facing danger. All right. You're determined and you understand light strength, you probably enjoy being here, grinned Lin Feng. There was a luxurious restaurant in the holy city where many people were gathered. Lin Feng's ordinary clone was there, too. Next to him, were Meng Qing, Xiaoye, and Wushang. "Brother, they're talking about you," Wushang said to Lin Feng. Some people were chatting and talking about Lin Feng nearby. Back then, at Ji Chang's champion ceremony, Lin Feng, that arrogant guy, fought against the Moon Group and the Stone Group. It was a great battle. He looked crazy. He even fought against Ji Chang. He wasn't as strong as Ji Chang, but he didn't flinch. A year has passed now. Lin Feng is 30th on the imperial ranking list. That's not fair. We will see how many people he can defeat on the Pathfinder Day of the imperial ranking list. On the Pathfinder Day of the imperial ranking list, I'm sure Ji Chang will settle accounts with Lin Feng. People who are on the imperial ranking list are terrifyingly strong, especially the top 30. They all understand Dao strength and they are almost all at the top of the Huang Qi layer. Even if they aren't, like Chu Chun Chiu, they're still terrifying. Even though Lin Feng had one great battle, he's lucky to be in the top 30. They were comparing the cultivators of the imperial ranking list. Chu Chun Chiu is extremely strong indeed. He is already in the top 20 of the imperial ranking list. His cultivation speed is impressive and his sky-absorbing Dao power is incredible. Some people say he can absorb people's willpower and use it. But he's very discreet. Maybe, but Chu Chun Chiu isn't the only strong cultivator. There is an incredibly strong cultivator from the Snow clan, too. They were put in the imperial ranking list directly. You probably know that already, though. Lin Feng was stupefied. A strong cultivator from the Snow clan? He didn't know that. Was it Meng Qing? Chapter 1938, Great Imperial Palace, but all of them are new. We'll see how strong they can be. Someone else broke in at that moment. Everybody became silent and looked at the person who had said that strangely. He was extremely young, maybe 17 years old. However, he had an extraordinary qi. He was drinking fine liquor and eating snacks. A young man who isn't even an emperor dares say that. That's a bit arrogant and insolent, a middle-aged man spoke up. Chu Chun Chiu, Lin Feng, and so on were all incredible cultivators. How did that trivial young man dare talk that way? How arrogant. You're only considering the present situation. Have you forgotten about the past? Back then, there were some incredible cultivators in the imperial ranking list. For example, Feng Shantian, his sword attacks were shockingly incredible. He killed geniuses from ancient clans without hesitation. He's valiant and heroic. There's also Pei Dong Lai, his purple qi is a propitious omen. His cosmic energies are terrifying. Those people achieved much more than those people you're talking about, said the young man. The people in the restaurant were all staring at him. Feng Shantian, Pei Dong Lai, and so on really were powerful and influential. They had shaken all of the holy city. However, they were now great emperors. Those two people were both in the same place, the Great Imperial Palace. The Great Imperial Palace was incredibly powerful, and managed the imperial ranking list. There are geniuses in every generation. Feng Shantian, Pei Dong Lai, and so on are really incredible cultivators. But now they belong to a different world. You can't compare them with people like Chu Chun Chiu, Lin Feng, and the others. And anyway, who says Lin Feng and so on won't surpass them someday? It's maybe only a matter of time, someone predicted. People of different generations couldn't be compared. Humph. As I see it, anyone who's from the Great Imperial Palace is better than those outstanding people you're talking about. You just keep forgetting about the past, retorted the young man coldly. As he said that, a woman in a white and silver dress came in, attracting all eyes. Her dress was very tight around her perfect body, and complemented her cleavage. She was very beautiful. Miss Enu. When Lin Wuxiang saw that girl, he smiled at her. Miss Yin nodded back at him. It made Wuxiang very happy. Lin Feng looked at his brother. He could imagine how his brother felt. Young men loved women, and were easily aroused. My brother goes out every day for her, right? Said Lin Feng to Xiaoya telepathically. Xiaoya laughed. It's difficult to compare people of different generations. Feng Shantian, Pei Donglai, and so on were extremely strong, and now they're even stronger than before, obviously. Are you from the great imperial palace? Asked the young woman to the young man, smiling thinly. You are the princess of the Yin clan. You are experienced and extraordinary. I am Pei Dongqing from the great imperial palace, the young man introduced himself. He stood up, walked to the young woman and waved to a chair. Please have a seat, princess. Oh, so you're Pei Donglai's nephew, he's your uncle. No wonder you keep saying good things about him. I'm just stating facts, princess. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's my uncle, said Pei Dongqing, his smile just a bit strained. But you can't help but show off, said the young woman from the Silver Clan. She didn't sit with him, glancing over at Lin Wuxiang and smiling. Silly boy, you came. Hee hee. Lin Wuxiang scratched his hair and giggled in a silly manner. Lin Feng looked at his brother and laughed. His brother loved beautiful women, too. He looked completely different from normal. Tell her to have a seat, said Xiaoya, glancing at Wuxiang angrily. Wuxiang could be so stupid sometimes, he just let the princess stand there. Yin, please sit, said Lin Wuxiang, waving at a chair and smiling at Yin. She sat down and smiled at him. You seem like you've recovered. Of course, I'm strong, said Lin Wuxiang giggling. He didn't even dare look at her in the eyes. Stop showing off, thought Xiaoya, rolling her eyes. Wuxiang looked stupid in front of a woman. You were injured? Lin Feng asked his brother. Small injury, it wasn't serious, replied Lin Wuxiang. Lin Feng looked over at Xiaoya. Xiaoya told him using telepathy, last time in this restaurant, Wuxiang saved her. When Lin Feng heard Xiaoya, he understood. No wonder this Yin clan princess was so nice to Wuxiang. But he looked so clueless. She was a princess, she didn't need him to save her. Lin Feng had heard about the great imperial palace and the Yin clan. They had a good reputation in the holy city. Surprisingly, Lin Wuxiang was interested in her. That was a lot of pressure. Of course, Lin Feng couldn't control his brother's life, Lin Wuxiang could decide what he wanted to do. Lin Wuxiang, you haven't introduced me to these people, hinted Yin, smiling at Wuxiang. You already know Xiaoya, and that's my brother, and that's my sister-in-law, replied Lin Wuxiang, pointing at Lin Feng and Meng Qing. Your sister-in-law is so beautiful, she looks like a celestial being. And your brother must be incredible, said Yin, looking at Lin Feng. Her eyes were really beautiful, with silver lights twinkling in them. Of course. He's definitely not less talented than Feng Shantian and Pei Donglai, said Lin Wuxiang proudly. He was angry because of the young man who had said that Lin Feng couldn't be compared with people like Pei Dongqing and so on. Lin Feng was like a god to his brother. Pei Dongqing frowned. He had just invited Yin to sit with him but she hadn't given him face, and now she was sitting with Wuxiang. He was angry now, he was from the great imperial palace, Lin Wuxiang was a nobody to him. And now, ridiculously, Wuxiang was comparing his brother with Feng Shantian and Pei Donglai. Ignorant little kid, said Pei Dongqing indifferently, sipping his drink and saying, you will probably never see Feng Shantian and Pei Donglai in your life. You're extremely ignorant, like a frog in a well. Pei Dongqing was arrogant, but many people in the restaurant agreed with him. After all, Lin Feng was just a medium-level emperor. Feng Shantian and Pei Dongqing were great emperors and members of the great imperial palace. They were much stronger than a medium-level emperor. What about you? We have similar cultivation levels. You're bragging just because you have a strong person in your family, said Lin Wuxiang mockingly. He was fearless, and he wanted to impress Yin, too. Pei Dongqing was a nobody to Wuxiang, and he wouldn't let him criticize his brother. When Pei Dongqing heard Lin Wuxiang, he laughed coldly. He stood up and walked over to Wuxiang. He smiled coldly and said, I'd like to ask you something. Which ancient clan are you from? We'll see why you dare act that arrogantly. Do I need to tell you? Rebutted Lin Wuxiang disdainfully. Pei Dongqing despised him, did he need to reply to him? Don't be ashamed of your background, retorted Pei Dongqing mockingly. Using one's social status to compare oneself is a very bad habit, said someone at that moment. That person was also having a drink. Pei Dongqing looked at him icily. It was a middle-aged man, very clean, who looked like he took care of himself. He had an ancient sword on his back. Who are you? Demanded Pei Dongqing sharply. The middle-aged slowly put his glass down, and turned his head to Pei Dongqing. Pei Dongqing's eyes suddenly felt extremely sore. He instantly lowered his head and his heart started pounding. The middle-aged man stood up and came over to him. Great Emperor Lu Yun, he was known as the Sword Emperor Lu Yun back in the days. The crowd was shocked when someone recognized him. Great Emperor Lu Yun. Pei Dongqing was stunned. He glanced at the man, but the Great Emperor ignored him. He walked over to Lin Feng and the others. He smiled at Lin Feng, may I sit here? Pei Dongqing was furious. He groaned icily and walked past them, saying, there will definitely be some change. Pei Dongqing left the restaurant quickly. People were stupefied and stared at Great Emperor Lu Yun. Surprisingly, he wanted to sit with Lin Feng. Lin Feng definitely wasn't a nobody. Chapter 1939, Wuxiang's Feelings, Master Lu Yun, said Yin. She stood up, bowed, and smiled with effortless good manners. Princess Yin Clan, you're too polite. You're more polite than that little Pei Dongqing, Great Emperor Lu Yun smiled. He looked at Lin Feng and said, a year ago, I saw you battle. Very nice, and you understand Death Dao strength. At the same cultivation level, you would have won for sure. Lin Feng wasn't surprised that Great Emperor Lu Yun had seen him battle. Ji Chang's champion ceremony had attracted strong cultivators from the whole holy city. Many people knew who he was now. Thank you, Master. Please have a seat, Lin Feng nodded at Great Emperor Lu Yun politely. Great Emperor Lu Yun sat down and said, but now your qi seems to have disappeared, as if you hadn't progressed at all. Actually, it even seems like you regressed. Master, said a voice from outside the restaurant at that moment. Then, everybody watched another Lin Feng come into the restaurant. His ordinary clone went back into his body and Lin Feng sat down where the clone had been seated. I see, said Great Emperor Lu Yun, smiling in approval. You're a hero. In your generation, there are Ying Cheng, Ji Chang, Chu Chun Chiu, a few people who have king body types, and you are all outstanding. Yin Yu's eyes twinkled. She looked at Lin Feng and smiled. You're Lin Feng. Indeed. My brother is Lin Feng, said Lin Wuxiang when he saw Yin Yu's beautiful eyes were twinkling. She looked at Wuxiang and said, no wonder you got angry at Pei Dongqing, silly boy. I've heard that you were really strong and could compete with Ji Chang, said Yin Yu. She was curious about Lin Feng. She smiled and said, in my clan, the Yin clan, there is someone called Yin Gu Tian, he's 7th on the imperial ranking list. I wonder if you could compete with him. I admire clans like yours. If there is an opportunity, I'd love to exchange his views on cultivation with cultivators of your clan, said Lin Feng, smiling calmly. Then, he looked at Great Emperor Lu Yun and raised his glass, Master, let's toast. All right, it's a pleasure to toast with a young genius, grinned Great Emperor Lu Yun. They both clinked their glasses and drank. But Lin Feng noticed that Lin Wuxiang looked impatient. He smiled at Lin Wuxiang and said, "Wuxiang, go and have a walk with Princess Yinyu." When Lin Wuxiang heard Lin Feng, he was surprised. He looked at Yinyu, but he didn't know what to say. Yinyu glanced at him and said, "Silly boy, what are you looking at? I'm tired of sitting all the time. Let's go and have a walk." Yinyu stood up and left. Lin Wuxiang was surprised, until Xiaoye kicked him in the leg. Lin Feng and Lu Yun continued chatting. After that, he left with Meng Qing. Xiaoye left by herself and went to find Wuxiang. In the following days, Lin Feng didn't do too much. He normally studied a little bit every day, but this time he stopped his studying and life and death cultivation for a few days. Meng Qing's progress was great too. Her celestial qi was extraordinary, and becoming thicker and thicker. She was improving, too. Tiantai now had great and vast buildings, and covered a large area. Lin Feng also chose a new palace for himself. There was a waterfall there, and at that moment, Lin Feng and Meng Qing were underneath the waterfall. They gazed into the distance and enjoyed being together. "Has Wuxiang come back?" asked Meng Qing, looking at the waterfall. "He hasn't come back for 5 or 6 days. He's in love," Lin Feng smiled. Meng Qing looked at Lin Feng, as surprised as a little girl. "Aren't you worried? After all, Yinyu is princess from the Yin clan. Wuxiang is almost 20 years old. I can't control his life. He's like you and me back then. Back then, when I saw you, it was love at first sight. You looked like a celestial being back then, and you never left me," said Lin Feng, caressing Meng Qing's face. He sounded gentle as he remembered those beautiful times. "I looked like a celestial being, and now?" inquired Meng Qing, smiling at Lin Feng. "Now you're a goddess," declared Lin Feng, putting his arms around her and smiling broadly. They forgot about the cruelty of the cultivation world for a short time, staying happy and carefree. They both stayed like that for a while. Meng Qing said gently, "Lin Feng, you changed again since you used the lotus. You also seem kinder when you face other people. I've never met Officer Uptila, but I'm sure he was a kind and warm person." "Indeed. He was a man of righteousness. Unfortunately, the cultivation world is cruel," sighed Lin Feng. "Officer Uptila was an incredible and extraordinary person. It was impossible to forget such people." At that moment, some cosmic energies rose up into the air. Lin Feng turned his head around and looked at his palace. A light beam had appeared, and some cosmic energies were condensing. Someone broke through. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. They both stood up and hurried over to the palace's courtyard. Xiao Chen was surrounded by cosmic energies. He had just broken through to the Huang Qi layer. "Teacher, madam, I broke through," said Yi Chen to Lin Feng and Meng Qing, beaming at them. Finally, he had broken through to the Huang Qi layer with 2 sorts of cosmic energies. "Good," said Lin Feng approvingly. Xiao Chen was pure-hearted, with the heart and mind of a young child, otherwise he would have broken through to the Huang Qi layer much sooner, especially since Lin Feng provided him with lots of resources. After all, when he had recruited Xiao Chen as his disciple back then in Ba Huang, Xiao Chen had already reached the very top of the Zun Qi layer. At that moment, Wuxiang was still in town, and back in the restaurant. He was with Yinyu and Xiaoye. There was also a young man with them wearing silver clothes. His robe was sparkling. He looked at Wuxiang unhappily. "It's my grandfather's birthday, I'm off," said Yinyu to Wuxiang. "Oh," replied Wuxiang simply. "This moron," Xiaoye thought angrily. "I'm off," said Yinyu again. "Oh," replied Lin Wuxiang again. Xiaoye ground her teeth. Yinyu also looked angry. She glanced at Wuxiang angrily and stood up. But then she smiled, turned around and left with the young man. "It's your grandfather's birthday, I'll come and congratulate him then," shouted Lin Wuxiang. He suddenly stood up and ran after Yin. Yinyu's beautiful eyes finally twinkled. She looked happy and smiled. She said, "All right, his birthday is in 5 days, don't forget the date." "All right, I'll be there," said Lin Wuxiang, nodding repeatedly. "Humph. Yin, stop talking to that moron. And who does he think he is to come and congratulate our grandfather on his birthday?" said the young man. Then, he grabbed Yinyu's hand and walked away. Lin Wuxiang was stunned and furious. "What are you looking at, you moron?" said Xiaoya angrily. She was even angrier than Wuxiang. Hee. Lin Wuxiang scratched his head and giggled stupidly. "Sis, are you in love with Yinyu? When you're in front of Yinyu, you look really stupid. You've spent days with her, you don't even hold hands." "I feel ashamed to know you," said Xiaoya, rolling her eyes. "That's enough, sis," said Wuxiang. He put his hands on her shoulders and smiled. Let's go and find my brother." "Humph. You need your brother to help you, you're such a baby," said Xiaoya, rolling her eyes again. "Yin is from the Yin clan. Her grandfather must be an incredible person. If I go alone, he won't pay attention to me. If my brother comes, he'll recognize him," said Lin Wuxiang like a show-off. "You're really shameless. You better prepare a great gift for him. Why would he follow you?" Xiaoya stuck out her tongue. Since Lin Wuxiang liked Yin, he wanted to bring Lin Feng to the Yin clan to show he had power, but Lin Feng wasn't strong enough yet. And she had a bad premonition. Chapter 1940, Birthday Party. Lin Wuxiang and Xiaoya went back to the university and found Lin Feng. "Bro." Lin Feng couldn't even see his brother yet, but heard him even before Wuxiang arrived. Lin Feng looked at him sternly. "Xiao Chen has already broken through to the Huang Qi layer. When will you?" Xiao Chen broke through. Lin Wuxiang looked over at Yi Chen, smiled and said, "Bro, I'm not in a rush. I need your help." Lin Feng looked at Lin Wuxiang's silly smile, he could already guess what he wanted. He smiled and asked, "Is it related to Yin?" "Bro, Wuxiang is a little bastard. He spent days with Yin, but he has failed miserably." "He lost face," said Xiaoya, looking at Wuxiang disdainfully. Lin Feng was speechless. She could be really evil sometimes. But even if Wuxiang managed to go out with Yin, would the Yin clan accept their relationship? "What do you need me to do?" asked Lin Feng with a smile yet not a smile, looking at Wuxiang. Wuxiang scratched his head and said, "Bro, it will soon be the birthday of Yinyu's grandfather. I want to go and congratulate him. Can you come with me?" "Yinyu's grandfather?" Lin Feng's eyes twinkled. He remained silent for a few seconds. Yin was the princess of the Yin clan. Her grandfather was probably an incredible cultivator. Wuxiang liked Yin. And Lin Feng, as Wuxiang's older brother, had to support and help him. "All right, I'll come with you," Lin Feng agreed with an internal sigh. "Thank you, bro," grinned Wuxiang, before running away excitedly. Lin Feng looked at his brother from behind and could only smile. Wuxiang was going to go through hardships in the future. "Xiaoya, what do you think about Yin?" asked Lin Feng after Wuxiang left. Even though Xiaoya played around with Wuxiang and bullied him, she was a loving and tender person. "She's cute." "Don't worry," said Xiaoya. She knew what Lin Feng was thinking. Lin Feng nodded. Xiaoya ran off to Yishui. Lin Feng looked at them and smiled wryly. He said to Meng Qing, "I feel old. I don't feel like playing around like them anymore." Meng Qing glanced at Lin Feng, rearranged his clothing and smiled gently. "You've been through a lot. You're a mature man now," not a kid anymore. Maybe, said Lin Feng smiling and nodding, by the way, I have a prisoner, I'll release her now. Lin Feng suddenly remembered someone. He stretched his hand and waved it. A golden tower appeared and became gigantic. There was a woman inside it, but she didn't look as proud as she had in the past. When he released her, she was astonished. She glanced around, not recognizing the place. Everything was different. Qi Jiao Jiao didn't look like a spoiled princess anymore, nor as happy and proud as in the past. She looked dispirited after being imprisoned for so many years. I'll kill you. After being stunned for a few seconds, Qi Jiao Jiao suddenly looked furious. She released some empty space abstruse energies, which turned into a sharp empty space sword that flashed towards Lin Feng. The sharp sword crashed onto Lin Feng's body, and broke apart instantly. Lin Feng looked at her calmly and sighed. Poor girl. If the Qi clan hadn't done anything to him back then, he wouldn't have imprisoned her for so many years. I destroyed the Qi clan and the celestial Qi castle in the great world. You will never be able to get your revenge in this life. You should find a peaceful place to go live, Lin Feng said calmly. Qi Jiao Jiao was stupefied. The Qi clan had been destroyed by Lin Feng. Impossible, impossible. How long did you keep me imprisoned? More than 10 years. I don't know exactly though, replied Lin Feng calmly. You can't have destroyed the Qi clan in 10 years, said Qi Jiao Jiao. She didn't believe it. She threw herself at Lin Feng, but Yi Chen's silhouette flickered and he landed in front of Lin Feng. Qi Jiao Jiao sensed a terrifying strength constrict her body. Yi Chen hadn't even made a move on her. Emperor's cosmic strength. Qi Jiao Jiao's expression changed drastically. She stared at the young man, so young and already an emperor. What had happened to the world? My teacher isn't lying. The Qi clan has been destroyed. Now, my teacher can also destroy a clan like the Qi clan with one finger. He's not lying. Leave now, said Yi Chen to Qi Jiao Jiao. Qi Jiao Jiao stepped backwards, her face deathly pale. Teacher. That emperor was Lin Feng's disciple. What had happened? What was going on? How come Lin Feng had a disciple who was an emperor? Qi Jiao Jiao looked at Meng Qing. Many people had stopped considering her one of the four most beautiful women of Ba Huang because of this woman. Qi Jiao Jiao looked wan and sallow as she left. She walked around aimlessly. She realized that the place she had been released was completely unknown to her. There were so many young people who were astonishingly strong. Most of them were emperors. 5 days later, it was the birthday of the old man of the Yin clan. Yin Rui had a high social status in the Yin clan. 100 years old and already a celestial emperor, it was incredible even in the holy city. He was extremely strong. Many people, even in ancient holy clans, needed more than 20 years to break through to the Huang Qi layer, 30 years to break through from low, to medium, to high-level emperor, and then more than 10 years to become great emperors. Only geniuses managed to level up faster than that. But Yin Rui was already a celestial emperor, it was an incredible accomplishment. People who weren't talented had much lower social status than those who were. Many people wanted to come and congratulate Yin Rui. There were 9 flights of stairs leading up to the hall, and descendants of the Yin clan were standing on them. At the bottom of the stairs, the guests were waiting. Ji Jiang, the Ji clan congratulates you and wishes you a long life. There were many people at the foot of the flights of stairs. In the crowd, there was a young man from the Ji clan. All those young people looked valiant and heroic. In the Ji clan, nobody could compete with Ji Chang, but it didn't mean that they were weak. The young people of the Ji clan were almost all geniuses. 2 of them were in the imperial ranking list, both of them extremely strong. Of course, they were much weaker than Ji Chang. Brother Gu Tian, the Ji clan and the Yin clan have excellent relations. I'm happy to be here, replied Ji Jiang politely. Ancient clans were powerful, and even if there were tensions, they respected one another. Brother Ji, you're right. Our clans have good relations. It's such a pity that Ji Chang didn't come. We would have loved to see the champion, smiled Yin Gu Tian. Ji Chang is meditating in seclusion. After the Pathfinder Day of the Imperial ranking list, he'll try to become a great emperor. I've heard that Ing Cheng is about to become one, Ji Jiang smiled back. Yin Gu Tian nodded, I wish brother Ji Chang much success for the Pathfinder Day of the Imperial ranking list. Pei Dong Lai, I came to congratulate Yin Rui on his birthday, said a voice in the distance. People turned around and saw Pei Dong Lai. He was wearing a purple robe and flying towards them. His famous purple chi rolled in waves around him. Great imperial palace's people are here. What an honor. I am very happy, answered Yin Rui, who was at the top of a flight of stairs. He looked like a middle-aged man with a few silver hairs. You're too polite, master. My nephew, Pei Dong Qing, wanted to come too. I think he likes a princess of the Yin clan, Pei Dong Lai laughed loudly. He looked at Yin Yu on purpose. Dong Lai is outstanding, Yin Rui said to Pei Dong Qing politely. Pei Dong Lai was incredibly talented and quite strong. He was also a great emperor from the Great Imperial Palace, a famous public figure. Pei Dong Lai didn't know many people from the Yin clan, and he didn't even care about them. He came because he had one goal. He gave meaningful glances to the members of the Yin clan. Yin Rui was experienced. He knew perfectly well what they wanted. He glanced at Yin Yu, but Yin Yu turned her head away and gazed into the distance. She looked impatient, and seemed to be waiting for something. Lin Feng and Wu Shang were at the gate of the Yin clan. At that moment, another group of people arrived. Lin Feng was surprised, because he recognized them. They were from the Yuan clan. Yuan Jing was in the crowd, too. But she didn't dare look at Lin Feng anymore. She knew he despised her. Chapter 1941, Competition. Lin Feng looked calm and serene, just glancing at Yuan Jing for a second. Yuan Jing didn't know what Lin Feng was thinking. Yuan Ho was there too. He looked at Lin Feng for a few seconds and sighed. How strong, how talented, he was progressing so fast. He wondered why Lin Feng was doing there at Yin Rui's birthday party. Only people from influential families of the Holy City were there. Even though Lin Feng was from Champion University, he wasn't from an ancient clan in the Holy City. He had nothing to do with the Yin clan, did he? At the top of the flights of stairs were buildings and palaces. The banquet was already ready. The Yin clan was very rich, and had only the best liquors and culinary specialties. Everybody was there for Yin Rui's birthday. Silly boy, said Yin Yu giggling when she saw Lin Wushang next to Lin Feng. She looked very happy suddenly, pure, innocent, and honest. Wu Shang smiled fatuously. He really looked silly when he was next to Yin Yu. Yin Rui frowned when he saw Yin Yu's expression. He then glanced at Lin Feng coldly. He asked someone next to him using telepathy, who are those two? I'll go and ask, replied the person next to Yin Rui, heading into the crowd. It was Yin Rui's birthday, and even though it was a big event and many people were invited, people who didn't have a high social status couldn't come as they wished. Lin Feng sensed that someone was looking at him coldly, and saw Ji Jiang and the others. Apart from Ji Jiang, Pei Dong Qing also looked at him and Wu Shang icily. Surprisingly, they really had come. Lin Feng ignored Ji Jiang and the others, glancing over at the crowd. There were some extraordinary cultivators here today. Even Hu Jiuyang and Xiaoyu, whom he had seen in the Ji clan back then, were there too. Xiaoyu's qi was evil. Hu Jiuyang had a pure and scorching hot sun qi. There were many other people drinking all around them. There was someone with silver clothes, his eyes silver and looking sharp. That was the young man of the Yin clan had mentioned in the restaurant, the seventh on the imperial ranking list, Yin Gu Tian. He was extremely strong. Apart from him, there was a cultivator wearing a golden kasaya, a Buddhist monk. Lin Feng glanced at him a few times. Even though he was a Buddhist monk, he looked like a really strong fighter. In the holy city, there's a Buddhist temple called the Canaan Buddhist Temple. They love fighting and are really good at it. The fourth cultivator on the imperial ranking list is a Buddhist monk, he must be from the Canaan Buddhist Temple. That guy must be a Buddhist warrior, thought Lin Feng. He was right, that cultivator in a kasaya was from the Canaan Buddhist Temple and was really strong. He was also a student at the ancient university. The ancient university had a really good reputation. They had some students who had the potential to become champions. The Yin clan has existed for a very long in the holy city. Today, it's Yin Rui's 100th birthday. Pei Dongqing came with his uncle to congratulate Yin Rui. Happy birthday, said someone at that moment. Everybody stopped talking and looked at Pei Dongqing. That guy was a young man, and had no patience. Many elders hadn't even spoken up, as taking the initiative to talk first wasn't polite. But the Pei clan was an ancient holy clan, powerful, and came from the great imperial palace. Pei Dongqing had come with Pei Donglai, so people couldn't say much. Pei Dongqing raised a box and gave it to a servant at the bottom of the flight of stairs. The person walked up the stairs. Yin Rui smiled, "You are so kind to me, Dongqing. It would be impolite to decline." It was normal to give presents on someone's birthday, so the old man couldn't refuse. The servant walked up to Yin Rui and opened the box. A powerful bestial strength rose up in the air. There was a crystal inside, as dazzling as a heavenly turtle shell. It seemed alive. Turtle heart. Yin Rui was surprised. Sharp lights flashed in his eyes. He looked at Pei Dongqing and Pei Donglai and said, "This present is way too precious. My uncle was traveling in the East Sea and killed a 10,000-year-old dragon turtle. Today is your birthday, I feel like it's not even enough," smiled Pei Dongqing. Everybody was shocked. That turtle heart seems alive. It belonged to a great imperial dragon turtle, it seems. Donglai is a really strong cultivator. Yin Rui sighed and looked at Pei Donglai meaningfully. Back in the day, Pei Donglai was already considered as powerful and influential when he was only on the imperial ranking list. He was in the top 3 and had shaken the whole holy city. Now he was a great emperor and could kill great imperial dragon turtles from the East Sea. Dragon turtles had an incredible defense, and controlled water and earth strength. It was extremely difficult to kill them. The deed proved how strong Pei Donglai was. "The Pei clan is powerful," murmured the crowd. That heart was full of vitality, and could help cultivators increase their own. It was a precious treasure for a human cultivator that could help Yin Rui progress on the path of cultivation. "Thank you very much, I'm moved," smiled Yin Rui. The crowd was surprised. That was the most precious gift Yin Rui had received today. No wonder Pei Dongqing dared act that way. Still, why did he offer Yin Rui such a precious treasure? After all, there were birthday parties everywhere and all the time. Giving a normal gift was enough, just enough to show one was happy to be there and knew the person. But offering such a valuable gift meant one had something else in mind. "I don't have such a priceless gift as a turtle heart, but I have a tome of the ancient heart-purifying Buddhist scriptures. I hope you enjoy it," said the smiling Buddhist warrior. He proffered a book with both hands. "It would be impolite to decline, my boy." "Thank you," said Yin Rui, smiling happily. The atmosphere was lively as everybody gave their gifts. At that moment, Pei Dongqing looked at Lin Feng and Lin Wuxiang and said indifferently, "Two strangers here, which ancient clan are you from? I've never seen you before." It seems like you really care about people's clans. You asked me the same question the first time we met, said Lin Feng to Pei Dongqing calmly. The strongest cultivators come from ancient holy clans in the holy city, Pei Dongqing smiled back. Lin Feng smiled indifferently and shook his head, then turned around and ignored him. What are you laughing at? Pei Dongqing asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng ignored Pei Dongqing and continued walking away. He had met so many people like Pei Dongqing in his life. That type of person wasn't determined enough. Their determination could easily get crushed by people, and then they never recovered. On the other side of the scale, there were people like Jian Mang, where cultivation was their life, and nobody could crush their determination. Pei Dongqing was furious when he saw that Lin Feng ignored them. He said mockingly, "You're just pretending you don't care. Today is Yin Rui's birthday party and surprisingly, people like you dared come. Ridiculous." Lin Wuxiang was furious and shouted back, "What the hell? Wuxiang, some people don't deserve getting your attention. Don't be furious because of them. Don't even pay attention to them." "You understand," said Lin Feng mildly. Wuxiang was surprised but he nodded, "All right, brother." Hi. Yin Yu giggled and smiled. She had thought Lin Feng would get angry, but he only despised people like Pei Dongqing. "Even though my nephew is a bit arrogant, you are being impolite." "Are you saying you despise the Pei clan?" spoke Pei Donglai slowly. Some purple chi appeared around him. Lin Feng turned around and looked at Pei Donglai. He said calmly, "Pei Donglai, from the Pei clan in the Holy City, when you were at the top of the Huang Qi layer, you were third in the imperial ranking list, the two above you could oppress you. Now you're a member of the great imperial palace and you're a great emperor." Pei Donglai wasn't surprised that Lin Feng knew about him. He said calmly, "You know about me." "Indeed, I do. But when you were at the top of the Huang Qi layer, two people oppressed you really badly. You never did better than third in the ranking list." "Even though it's okay, it's not amazing either," said Lin Feng calmly. The crowd was astonished and staring at Lin Feng now. That was insane. He was saying being third in the imperial ranking list was just okay. At that moment, someone spoke to Yin Rui using telepathy. Yin Rui looked over at Lin Feng, amused. "So it was him. So you're higher than me in the imperial ranking list?" Pei Donglai asked mockingly. Pei Donglai knew the third cultivator on the imperial ranking list. It couldn't be Lin Feng. He was even sure that Lin Feng wasn't in the top 10. He's only a medium-level emperor. Back then you were at the top of the Huang Qi layer, and you're from an ancient holy clan. What you mean is that at the same cultivation level, you were better than him, right? "Master Pei Donglai, what was your rank when you were at the top of the medium Huang Qi layer?" asked Yin Yu with a smile. "When I was at the top of the medium Huang Qi layer, I was in the top 40 of the imperial ranking list," said Pei Donglai. "And did you compare yourself with the top 3 back then?" "Of course I didn't. I was a medium-level emperor," said Pei Donglai. "Oh, I see. So why do you compare yourself with a medium-level emperor now? Especially that 1 year ago, he wasn't even at the top of the medium Huang Qi layer and was already better ranked than you back then when you were at the top of the medium Huang Qi layer. He even fought against Ji Chang, second on the imperial ranking list," giggled Yin Yu. Everybody frowned in astonishment at her words. Chapter 1942, Propose a Marriage Alliance. Pei Donglai frowned. He was from the great imperial palace, so he knew perfectly well who was in the imperial ranking list and so on. When Yin Yu said that, he immediately thought of one person, Lin Feng. A year before, Lin Feng had just become a medium-level emperor and he had fought against Ji Chang on the day of his champion ceremony. Unfortunately, they hadn't finished the battle. This young man was Lin Feng. Yin Yu looked at Pei Dongqing and smiled. "Pei Dongqing, so you're saying people from ancient clans are more talented than other people?" So your uncle wasn't as strong as him back then at the same cultivation level. Does it mean the Pei clan is too weak, or does it mean your uncle is too weak? Little you, that's enough, shouted Yin Rui furiously. Pei Donglai was an extraordinary person from the great imperial palace and the Pei clan, and they had just given him a turtle heart. Yin Yu was disgracing him. Pei Dongqing was frozen. Yin Yu was humiliating him. Yin Yu looked over at Lin Wuxiang, her beautiful eyes twinkling. Many people understood that Lin Wuxiang had come with his brother because he had hidden thoughts. Princess Yin Yu is not wrong, but at the same time, a cultivation level is subjective. It isn't everything. And we belong to two different worlds, different generations, different contexts. No need to compare us, said Pei Donglai indifferently. Everybody looked amused. Anyway, congratulations, you're lucky you were born many years before him, laughed Yin Yu. Everybody understood she was trying to get closer to Lin Feng and his brother. Yin Yu was unhappy because Pei Dongqing had offered a turtle heart to her grandfather. She knew what he wanted. She was doing her best to reject him. Princess Yin Yu, you're wrong, intervened Ji Jiang slowly. Back then, on the day of Ji Chang's champion ceremony, Lin Feng and Ji Chang fought. Ji Chang didn't use his full strength because he despises Lin Feng, so Lin Feng was lucky. Then, when Ji Chang really wanted to battle and use his full strength, the university made him stop. Otherwise, Lin Feng wouldn't have been able to compete with Ji Chang. You're from the Ji clan, you're on his side of course, rebutted Yin Yu dismissively. I'm just stating facts. Back then, Pei Donglai was the third cultivator on the imperial ranking list. You know perfectly well who the second and first were. They were incredible. You know that you're wrong, continued Ji Jiang. Some members of the Yuan clan laughed. Pei Donglai has always been amazing. Comparing him with Lin Feng is a humiliation for him. Many people understood that Lin Feng had offended many people. Everybody knew there were tensions between the Ji clan and Lin Feng. He had offended Ji Chang, but he had also offended Ji Wuyo many times, and Yuan Jing was in a relationship with him. So the Yuan clan supported the Ji clan as well. Nobody seemed to support Lin Feng. What kind of nonsense is that? You're saying that the new generation of cultivators who is on the imperial ranking list isn't as strong as the previous one? So you're saying that Ing Cheng, Ji Chang, the Buddhist warrior, Xiaoyu, and Yin Gu Tian aren't as talented as the previous generation of cultivators who was on the imperial ranking list? Yin Yu retorted scathingly. Those people were ridiculous, their arguments groundless. They were ready to say anything to discredit Lin Feng. Yin Yu, no need to reply to those people's nonsense, said Lin Feng calmly. Those people suddenly looked even more furious. Lin Feng looked at Yin Rui. Master, those people are much stronger than me. I have a few good things, but they're probably not good enough for you. I'd like to offer a lotus to Yin Yu. It is made of Tao intent. A blue Uptala lotus appeared in Lin Feng's hand. It contained a mysterious Tao intent, and slowly flew towards Yin Yu. I love this blue Uptala lotus, said Yin Rui, taking it. Yin Rui smiled and nodded. It's a precious treasure for Yin Yu, thank you very much. Master, Pei Donglai came here for another reason, said Pei Donglai at that moment. He initially didn't intend to act this quickly, but he had no choice anymore. There is no harm in saying what one thinks, Donglai, said Yin Rui politely. Princess Yin Yu is now 18 years old. Many men want to get married to her. My nephew Dongqing is in love with Princess Yin Yu. We came to congratulate you for your birthday and also to propose a marriage alliance between our two clans. If you accept, the Pei clan and the great imperial palace will be extremely happy, said Pei Donglai, smiling cheerfully. Lin Wuxiang looked at Lin Feng and swore, bro. He had come here to get to know the Yin clan, he hadn't thought the Pei clan would propose a marriage alliance. No, shouted Yin Yu hastily. Little you, spoke up another strong cultivator of the Yin clan. It was her father. He didn't want her to say anything insensitive. Shut up now. Let your grandpa talk. Yin Yu looked dispirited. She looked at Lin Wuxiang in despair. Even though Yin Rui had guessed that Pei Donglai had come for that reason, he looked solemn and respectful. The Pei clan and the Yin clan were ancient clans. There were invisible connections between such clans. It was all about the palace of power. The relations between the different clans also influenced the whole city. The Pei clan was proposing a marriage alliance, that way they would never be enemies. Master, said Lin Feng at that moment. Yin Rui turned around and looked at Lin Feng. My brother Lin Wuxiang and Yin Yu are already going out. I'd like to propose a marriage alliance, said Lin Feng to Yin Rui calmly. Ridiculous. A member of the Ji clan didn't even give Yin Rui time to reply and laughed coldly. Your brother Lin Wuxiang wants to get married with Yin Yu. Did I hear what you said properly? Who are you? What is your social status? Does Lin Wuxiang deserve someone like Yin Yu? Lin Feng turned around, his eyes were filled with death energies. He looked at the member of the Ji clan. Death intent emerged from his eyes and pierced through that person's pupils. His face suddenly turned gray. Bastard, shouted Ji Jiang and the others furiously. They all started moving towards Lin Feng and released chi towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's robe started fluttering in the wind. I just glanced at you. Why act that aggressively? Is that the social status you're talking about? Being too weak to withstand a gust of wind, said Lin Feng, recalling his death intent. He looked calm and aloof, in contrast to the furious Ji clan members. Master Yin Rui, if you give your consent for Pei Dongqing and Yin Yu's union, the Pei clan will use their full strength to raise Pei Dongqing and Princess Yin Yu. The great imperial palace will also do their best, said Pei Donglai. Yin Rui's eyes were twinkling, but he looked expressionless. I came from very, very far away. I have just one brother. Whenever I obtain ancient scriptures, skills, techniques and other resources, I give them to my brother, and I will also give them to his wife when he has one. You dare compare your resources with the Pei clans, said Pei Dongqing to Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at him in a disdainful way and countered, can you compare the resources of the Pei clan with the resources of Champion University? Pei Dongqing looked stunned and said, the Pei clan is my clan, you're just a student at Champion University, it's not yours. You're just a descendant of the Pei clan, you're not the leader. My social status within Champion University will be higher than your social status in the Pei clan, sooner or later. And regarding resources, I have the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, does the Pei clan have them? Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. Pei Dongqing was astonished. Some other people had heard about the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. Lin Feng had already studied them. And now Lin Feng was proposing a marriage alliance, which meant that he definitely had them. When Lin Feng saw Pei Dongqing remaining silent, he smiled coldly and took out a tree. Suddenly, the strength of the 10,000 things of creation appeared around him, and there was a strong attraction between Lin Feng and that strength. It was an incredible sight, making people shiver with desire. Yin Rui was astonished. Does the Pei clan have a heavenly grace ancient tree? Asked Lin Feng again. The crowd was astonished and swallowed. Lin Feng surprisingly had a heavenly grace ancient tree of godly wood valley. Lin Feng perfectly understood that he couldn't rely on his reputation or social status to impress the Yin clan. He was talented, but he was just a strong yet random cultivator. I have many other things, but I don't need to show you everything I have. I have books, skills, techniques, items, weapons. I probably have as many good resources as the Pei clan. I even have marks of the path, more than enough, said Lin Feng indifferently. He was talking to Pei Dongqing, but actually he just wanted the Yin clan to hear him. Chapter 1943, Killing this guy comes from a small world. Thought the crowd. The celestial evolution holy scriptures, the heavenly grace godly wood, marks of the path, many great scriptures. Lin Feng sounded arrogant, but he wasn't lying, he had already shown two of those things to the crowd. Pei Dongqing was from the Pei clan, but he hadn't taken anything out yet. No wonder that he was that strong, he had many treasures, talent, and experience. So show us, what do you have? Asked Lin Feng to Pei Dongqing indifferently. Pei Dongqing's face stiffened. What did he have? Apart from the fact that he belonged to a powerful clan, what did he have? Did he have items as valuable as Lin Feng's items? Lin Feng slowly turned around and looked at Yin Rui. Master, Pei Dongqing has a good background, but that's all. What else does he have? Even if you belong to a powerful clan, you must make efforts. And also, considering his attitude and personality, I don't think he'll go very far on the path of cultivation. Wu Shang is my only biological brother, everything I have, I will give it to him. Yin Rui looked at Lin Feng meaningfully. Lin Feng was telling him that Pei Dongqing's promises were empty. Lin Feng could at least prove what he was saying. However, an alliance between the Yin clan and the Pei clan wasn't only about Yin, it was about two powerful ancient clans. There was a lot at stake. It was a difficult choice for the Yin clan. At the beginning, everybody thought Pei Dongqing was a better choice than Lin Feng because he belonged to a powerful clan, but now things were different. Even the Yin clan was hesitating. Lin Feng had done a great job. He, Yin Rui laughed indifferently and said to the crowd, Yin Yu is young. Why hurry? She can also talk to her father. We need time to think. Everybody understood. Yin Rui couldn't decide within seconds. Since it's that way, I'll wait for the good news. The Pei clan is eager to have an alliance with the Yin clan, said Pei Donglai indifferently. At his cultivation level, what other people said didn't affect him that much anymore. He was self-confident, and he was convinced the Yin clan would give him face. Let's stop talking about that for now. We're here for my birthday party. There are so many geniuses today, please exchange views on cultivation, you can learn from one another, smiled Yin Rui. Everybody nodded and started chatting among themselves. Lin Feng looked at the members of the Yin clan. His eyes were twinkling. He didn't feel good about his chances. He was alone, and couldn't do much against two ancient clans. He was just talented, but that wasn't enough. Pei Donglai was also a genius, and on top of that he had already become a great emperor. At that moment, someone landed in front of Lin Feng. It was Xie Yu. He smiled at Lin Feng and said, last time, when I saw you, I didn't think anything, but then you fought against Ji Chang, and I was very surprised. I hope we can battle at some point. Xie Yu's eyes twinkled evilly with decay strength, however his expression didn't affect Lin Feng, who remained calm. It will soon be the Pathfinder Day of the Imperial Ranking List, you'll have the opportunity, Xie Yu, spoke up the Buddhist warrior indifferently at that moment. His eyes were sharp and extremely determined. He was the fourth cultivator on the Imperial Ranking List. The Pathfinder Day of the Imperial Ranking List will be amazing, said Yin Gu Tian, laughing happily. They raised their glasses and toasted. Dazzling silver lights kept twinkling in Yin Gu Tian's eyes. He was the seventh cultivator of the Imperial Ranking List. At that moment, some qi rose up in the air. Pei Donglai came over, surrounded by a purple qi. The Pathfinder Day of the Imperial Ranking List will be great, I will volunteer for battle. I will show everyone how incredible the Great Imperial Palace is, said Pei Donglai, glancing at the crowd and Lin Feng meaningfully. The Pathfinder Day of the Imperial Ranking List was an event organized by the Great Imperial Palace, who were in charge of the Imperial Ranking List. They had a great deal of power and influence. Lin Feng looked at those extraordinary people. Many things would change after that event. It was difficult to remain calm and aloof when thinking about it. Even though he was quite strong, there were many people who were stronger than him in the holy city. People who were on the imperial ranking list were astonishing, especially those at the top of the list who all understood Dao strength. Ying Cheng, Ji Chang, and so on were all terrifyingly strong. Lin Feng and Lin Wuxiang were quickly bored, so they left. "Bro, do you think the Yin clan will accept Pei Dongqing and Yin Yu's union?" asked Lin Wuxiang to Lin Feng. Lin Feng remained silent for a few seconds and said, "Wuxiang, there is a big chance they will because the Pei clan and the Yin clan are both ancient clans. They care more about power and influence than anything else. Yin Yu isn't free to choose her husband." "So Lin Wuxiang's face stiffened. But Lin Feng smiled and said, "Don't worry. If Yin Yu wants to follow you, you can escape with her. You can take her to my world, and nobody will find you. Even if you don't go to my world, you can go to another place in the continent of the 9 clouds. But you need to become stronger. You're an adult now, and you understand that if you're not strong enough, you can't do anything in this world." "I understand," said Wuxiang nodding. He clenched his fists. If only he had been as strong as Lin Feng, the Yin clan wouldn't have hesitated. Even though Lin Feng had said he would give him everything he had, they weren't the same person. Lin Feng being extremely talented didn't mean that Wuxiang was talented, and the Yin clan didn't know how strong Wuxiang was. At that moment, a strong wind started blowing behind Lin Feng. "Brother Lin Feng, stop." Lin Feng and Lin Wuxiang stopped and turned around. They saw many people following them, people from the Ji clan and the Yuan clan. A strong wind whistled. The group of people quickly surrounded Lin Feng and his brother, and their chi pressed out. Lin Wuxiang had already started suffocating and was instantly covered with cold sweat. "What's this supposed to mean, everybody?" asked Lin Feng, glancing around. All these people were young people from the Ji clan and the Yuan clan. They were extremely strong, high-level emperors. "Brother Lin Feng, you're extremely strong. Everybody knows about that. You can even compete with Ji Chang. We are all very weak in comparison with Ji Chang. We also know that. But we would like to know how strong you really are," said one of them. His voice and chi emitted whistling sounds. Lin Feng had the sensation mountains and oceans were pressing on him. His eyes twinkled. His celestial evolution chessboard appeared, and Lin Feng jumped on it. The deployment spell of the celestial evolution chessboard became dazzling, lights illuminated the whole crowd. However, Lin Feng rose up in the air, looking at them icily. Death chi started pulsing. "Come," said Lin Feng calmly. His powerful chi became even more terrifying. Someone stretched out his hand and meteorites started falling from the sky towards Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng waved his hand, there was a rumble, and all the gigantic stones all exploded. Many people charged him at the same time. Lin Feng saw a pair of eyes, they looked evil. Evil vision. The cultivator's eyes looked particularly sinister, like those a demon. At the same time, 2 other people ran towards Lin Feng, and a stone axe fell from the sky, able to easily destroy a mountain. The energies around it blotted out the sky. A cyan dragon appeared and bared its fangs. Lin Feng's robe fluttered in the wind. His death strength was explosive, his gaze terrifying. The eyes of the cultivator who had evil eyes in front of Lin Feng suddenly started bleeding and his face turned gray. He looked like a corpse. "Die!" shouted a strong cultivator explosively. The terrifying axe and the cyan dragon chi fell from the sky towards Lin Feng. Golden lights intertwined around Lin Feng and under his feet. A pattern appeared. Lin Feng flashed forwards and suddenly disappeared. The axe and the dragon continued falling from the sky as a horrible shriek arose. A death sword appeared and pierced through that person's head, and his body fell down from the sky. Chapter 1944, demon puppets, he's dead. Lin Feng's gaze was terrifying. He had killed a cultivator from the Yuan clan, a high-level emperor. You dared kill a cultivator from the Yuan clan? Shouted someone explosively. Lin Feng turned around and looked at that person mockingly. You came here to kill me? Don't you think you're ridiculous? Get ready to die. Golden lights flashed, and marks intertwined. Those people were stunned as they watched Lin Feng release cosmic energies to carve an empty space deployment spell. A terrifying wind started blowing. Lin Feng charged someone. Nihility sword. Pitch-black lights emerged from Lin Feng's eyes, his nihility sword pierced through that person's soul, and as the death strength spread throughout his body, the person was slammed backwards violently. He still managed to make some hand seals with his hands. His soul turned into a gigantic cyan dragon and bestial chi swelled. Lin Feng jumped onto his golden marks and disappeared. He punched out, and a terrifying Devamara Culpa death sword streaked across the sky. A terrifying death wind brushed against the cultivator's body, and the space around him exploded. What's that? The cultivator in front of Lin Feng sensed the pressure, his face turned deathly pale as his soul shook violently and his heart started pounding. Destructive Tao, Lin Feng understood destructive Tao. A terrifying dragon started roaring and flew towards Lin Feng. However, the Death Culpa sword pierced through the dragon and started corroding the cultivator's life. He couldn't do much else. There weren't only destructive energies, there was also a strange and oppressive strength. It was as if a whole world were pressing down on that cultivator. There were rumbles of air compressing, and his skull crackled. His cyan dragon exploded, and a moment later, so did the cultivator himself. However, at that moment, terrifying threads of energies pierced through Lin Feng's head, his soul shook violently, and his silhouette became distorted. Suddenly, illusions appeared in his brain. Ancient kings attacked his soul. He had the sensation he was going to die. Die. Lin Feng was incredibly determined, he used the strength of his godly awareness to protect himself, a palace appeared and protected his soul. His willpower was indestructible. At the same time, he released even more death strength, which turned into sharp blades and attacked the illusion. The kings all exploded and disappeared. It was as if he had destroyed a mirage. More oppressive strength appeared around Lin Feng. Dragon claws slashed towards his head. Suddenly, Lin Feng's third eye flared, and they could hear waves crashing. Black water emerged from his third eye and rolled out towards them. His enemy were aghast. That death black water was terrifying. He had seen it with his own eyes in the past, Lin Feng could easily kill people with it. He retreated as fast as he could, but the black water washed over him, and death chi penetrated into his body. To his astonishment, he didn't die. At that moment, a celestial death curtain appeared and blotted out the sky. It enveloped him, he vanished inside and disappeared. Lin Feng looked at someone who wasn't far from him, the person with evil eyes. He also had a special power, he could attack people's will and soul with his eyes. At that moment, millions of lights dazzled, and unseen waters seemed to be splashing around them. One of the strong cultivators released a golden water fork, containing great imperial strength. Ji Jiang took out a gigantic dragon axe, which looked like a real cyan dragon as it roared furiously. The last cultivator took out a terrifying demon zither, and deadly sound waves spread out in the air. Those three people were really dangerous, they all had great imperial weapons. Lin Feng looked at those three people, his eyes twinkling. He flashed forwards and landed on his celestial evolution chessboard, an illusionary mist appearing around him. The three cultivators were startled as the celestial evolution chessboard disappeared. Lin Feng reappeared on a boat, and left. He's leaving. Ji Jiang looked at Lin Feng with murder in his eyes. The three cultivators started chasing Lin Feng at the same time as fast as they could move. Lin Feng was on his boat, and moving incredibly fast. He headed towards a mountain range, and immediately collided with it, the chosen mountain exploding at the impact. The stone groaned, and a tunnel appeared. The three others followed him inside. When they entered the hole, the walls around them kept exploding. Ji Jiang was furious. As they moved through the corridor, Qi surged towards him powerfully. It was moving even faster than Lin Feng, and made him hesitate. He raised his great imperial weapon, but the air shrieked as the Qi surrounded him. The two others arrived but very quickly, Qi surrounded them just like it had Ji Jiang. A mysterious Qi enveloped them rapidly. They continued moving forwards, but only collided with one another. They didn't have time to react. Suddenly, there was no sound anymore. Some weapon Qi still rose up in the air, but nobody knew what was going on inside. 7 days later, Qi was still rising in the hole. Lin Feng was bathing in the demon pond in his small world, his celestial evolution chessboard nearby. The three others were there too, seated on the chessboard, their eyes closed. A black fire was burning their souls, and their faces were pitch black. They looked horrible. At that moment, they were safe and sound, but they didn't dare resist. Lin Feng had stamped their souls with death stamps. He could kill them as he wished. Ah, the three cultivators kept shrieking horribly. Their souls were burning, but they were still alive. It was so painful that they would have preferred dying. They were all terrified. "What do you intend to do to us?" demanded Ji Jiang aggressively. "I won't kill you, but if you do anything fishy, you will die," said Lin Feng, his voice making them shudder in dread. They had no doubt that Lin Feng wasn't lying. "You dare do that to us, the Ji clan and the Yuan clan won't let you off. They will kill you," swore Ji Jiang, sounding as evil as a snake. Ah, right after saying that, he gave out a horrible shriek. He closed his eyes and stopped talking. The pain was unbearable. When Lin Feng finished stamping their souls properly, he stopped. He used the power of the demon pond to do it. Each of them had 81 demon stamps on their soul, from head to foot. Lin Feng tortured them for 9 days. After so many days in the pond, their eyes turned black in despair. The demon's strength kept corroding their bodies. "If my soul was strong enough, I could pierce through their souls with my 9 netherworlds demonic song. I wouldn't need to waste so much time," murmured Lin Feng. He stood up and stopped torturing the trio. He wanted to turn them into demon puppets, but it took 81 days. He had been doing it for only 9 days. Ji Jiang and the two others were extremely strong, at the top of the Huang Qi layer, and only people who understood Dao strength could deal with them. Therefore, killing them would have been a pity. That's why Lin Feng wanted to use them as demon puppets. The ancient demon clan's demon puppet technique was extremely complex, and it was very difficult to use extremely strong cultivators, especially since the technique had to be used on cultivators who were fit, otherwise, the puppets were deficient. People who turned into demon puppets were the same as before, except that they listened to orders. If they were incredibly strong, they remained extremely strong. People slowly learned about what had happened at the Yin clan. Many people learned that Pei Dongqing had gone to the Yin clan with his brother Pei Donglai to propose a marriage alliance to the Yin clan. The most amusing thing in that story was that Lin Feng, a cultivator of Champion University who had fought against Ji Chang, also proposed a marriage alliance for his younger brother. Many people were excited and couldn't wait to know who the Yin clan would choose. People were excited even in Champion University. Lin Feng was already extremely famous in Champion University. Many people thought that Lin Feng's brother didn't stand a chance though, especially since there were more and more movements between the Yin clan and the Pei clan. Otherwise, the crowd was also excited about another event, the Pathfinder Day of the Imperial Ranking List. The strong cultivators of the Imperial Ranking List were going to rise and fall. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.